I love the hair going with it. That is amazing. What's up, everybody? We've got pretty much my favorite person that lives in an apartment in the outskirts of Los Angeles, but still within 30 miles. That's a lot of qualifiers.
Yeah. You're my favorite person currently wearing a black shirt who lives near Kansas City with earbuds in.
Oh man, that's it completely reminds me of baseball stats. I always laugh because they're like, this is the first player under the age of 27 to hit a RBI on a Friday night in May. Isn't that amazing? Like, what?
Oh, you're my favorite shaved head person who convinces me to see pornos in public.
Yes, my favorite kind of person. What's going on, everybody? For those that don't know, Jeremy has been a friend of the channel for a long time. He is a beautiful human that opened up his couch to me just a couple months ago. He is a wonderfully funny person, and he was not in American Movie. And if you saw the announcements for this week, you know why that is perfectly relevant right now.
Despite what many of your fans and followers think, that's not me.
I will also throw out, I kind of feel bad because after you and I had planned on you going tonight, they announced that. And I had somebody message me and say, I'm like the biggest fan of American Movie. Can I come on tonight and talk about the announcements? I was like,
if they want to chime in, they can pop in.
No, Will's going to watch this tomorrow. So I just want to say, Will, no, you absolutely cannot.
It's Will.
Yeah, exactly.
Hell no.
Hope everybody's good. What's going on in your life lately?
Me or the people?
Yes, please, everybody just start speaking all at once.
I thought you meant in the comments.
You specifically, because I care about you. I also love how the word weird is like pointing at your head on this view.
Yeah, what's really good is when I'm doing very professional Zoom calls. That's there. Yeah, going great, doing a bit of regrouping lately as far as life stuff, which Ryan knows all about because we had a conversation about it.
Brian wants to share that you had to put up an amazingly old photo to compete with Jeremy's beautiful locks.
Those are some good locks I can see from the photo. I wish mine were a little curlier, to be honest.
To be honest.
That
was awful, and please do it a lot more. I love that we kind of summoned Flickering Waves. Did somebody say American Movie?
Yeah. I know that guy.
So yes, Jeremy's been going through a lot personally, but other than that, what else is going on in life?
Working on a new script, and getting back into the swing of things comedy-wise, because I was focused on a lot of other stuff for the last couple months, and so yeah, if it was curlier, yeah. Kenny G / Weird Al look.
That, and if you had something in your mouth.
Something that you blow into. Going to a lot of screenings thanks to the lovely folks at Beyond Fest and the lovely folks at the PGA that I'm a part of, and sending me all these great and sometimes just advanced screenings, sometimes premieres, more often than not with great Q&As that I love attending.
So for those that don't know, Jeremy is a screenwriter in Los Angeles, does some stuff for some TV shows. He worked on a movie called Clickbait that was not made into a Netflix show. And he is an active stand-up comedian. So if you're in the area, keep an eye out. He's got a Facebook page that's active, posts all of his shows, got an Instagram. Everything's linked below. He's amazing, super funny. He is just like if Mitch Hedberg was still alive. And that honestly, Mitch would have loved that joke. Yeah. Yes. So he was mentioning screenings. You heard him say thanks to Beyond Fest and the PGA. So yes, because he's attended Beyond Fest, he gets some things for that. And then he's a pro golfer, so sometimes they send him links to.
Yeah, a few people know that the Pro Golf League. What does that stand for? Pro Golf Association?
I think so. Yeah.
That they are, they get all the films early. Yeah. And digital files, and then they hold screenings. No, I'm in the Producers Guild of America. I don't think I ever even told you this, Ryan. I tried to join the Writers Guild of America, since I did indeed write
Since you're
my
writing,
first Clickbait that you mentioned earlier, not the Netflix series,
not the far inferior
not the,
clickbait.
no, Adrienne Grenier is not in my movie. I wish Zoe Kazan was, because I love her, and I'm sad that she was in that show, because it makes me hate it a little less, because I love her so much.
Right.
But I still hate it, and I'm in the middle of a lawsuit. Just kidding. But turns out after I had written that film and it got made and produced and distributed, that when I tried to join the Writers Guild, you need to have, doesn't have to be one thing, but you need to have 90 minutes of content produced.
Oh, jeez.
And like released to the public, like distributed in America and everything, like all these guidelines. But it's 90 minutes is the particular, and Clickbait, I believe, is 80.
Isn't it like 84? Okay.
Something like that, 85, 86. I'm like 4 or 5 minutes shy. Which, by the way, the original script was certainly 90 minutes or a little more. But I had no control over any rewrites or, of course, how it was edited. So it ended up being shy of 90 minutes, and therefore I have to come out with something else fast so I can join the Writers Guild.
Release something that's 8 minutes long.
Yeah, yeah. But I mean, I have some short films out there, but I don't think they qualify, because I don't think media that's just on YouTube qualifies. I think it has to be like officially distributed. There's all kinds of specifications, but I mean, I get a decent amount of perks through the PGA too that I'm really happy with, and happy to be a part of them. So it's still fun.
I'm sure that they would be against the short films, considering they are completely full of dicks.
Very true.
That was a really great joke for people that don't know any. It was a joke for me and Jeremy, and that's it.
Yes. Anybody? I don't know. Yeah, I guess nobody else has seen my short film. What was that thing about PTA? A whole series of him at the
Terry said, "That's okay. I first thought Jeremy said PTA and wondered which school PTA has an in for screening movies."
I wish PTA had a school. I would go to that school.
Do you want to explain the Dick's joke real quick?
Yeah, lots of hot dogs. And all my shorts. All my shorts are exclusively about hot dog eating contests. Kobayashi did a cameo.
They're shorts, so they obviously have to be about cocktail weenies.
Cocktail weenies. I like it. Good. Ironically, there are a lot of hot dog cocktail weenies at most of the events I go to for the PGA. I am still friend. I haven't talked to him in a little while here lately, mostly because of the pandemic and an assortment of other reasons. But I'm good friends with Andy Dick, and pretty much, actually, I guess every single one of my short films stars Andy and also his daughter Meg, who I was friends with as well.
Whose last name is also Dick, so hence the lots of dicks.
Lots of dicks. Lots meaning two.
I mean, it's weird that
other people who have dicks but aren't named Dick.
It makes sense that there's one, but it's odd that there's more than one.
There's more than one. Yeah, I guess that's not super common. The last name Dick in general isn't common. So for there to be more than one in multiple of my short films constitutes lots of dicks.
I agree. That was a long way to explain that joke. Let's get back to movies. Enough about Andy Dick. We're going to talk about some of those screenings, but before we do, you have any pickups you want to share with the group?
So there's a little shop by me called CD Trader. Shout out to anyone in the SoCal area, specifically the Valley, like I am. It's a great little buy and sell shop with records and movies and Blu-rays and all kinds of stuff. They have a lot of rare stuff oftentimes. Ryan knows because I'm always hitting him up while I'm there. Like, should I get this? And they also have really good prices the majority of the time as well. Those are my most. I got. What did I get? I got quite a few Vinegar Syndrome releases.
That was a good set.
when I was there recently. Sadly, I haven't gotten any like big. Usually, I have like some kind of big order coming in the mail from like Vinegar Syndrome or Diabolic or somewhere, and I haven't had any of those recently. Although I did just get an email today that my most recent Vinegar Syndrome monthly subscription, along with a couple other ones I ordered from the new partner labels and stuff, is on the way, including Faults. My favorite 2 partner label releases from this month was Faults and Hearts Beat Loud.
Nice.
That movie is so underrated. I'm so glad that is coming out with like a whole bunch of extra bonus features.
I was dying for Hearts Beat Loud. The original Blu-ray release, which is kind of supposedly, has been in my wish list forever, and I've just never pulled the trigger because it also seemed to really never go down in price. And when I hear there's kind of a sketchy review on it, I don't really want to pay like $22 for it.
It is a bit but one cool thing about it, or at least the version I got, which I think might have been a Walmart exclusive when it first came out because I loved it so much, has the soundtrack on CD,
nice,
which is cool because there's it has a
that'd be worth that, for sure.
But so I'm happy about that one. So I guess that's coming in the mail according to this email I just got. I'm looking in our text chain to see what those Vinegar Syndrome pickups I got were, because I don't remember off the top of my head.
I always feel bad when you're in CD Trader because I know that you're in public and you send me, no joke to everybody here. There's sometimes, especially when it used to be on Facebook before we started texting, I would literally get like 40 pictures at once. And inevitably, because of the time difference, I am always like in the middle of making dinner, putting my children to bed, driving somewhere, or like in the middle of a movie, and I suddenly get like 9 notifications of pictures. And then 8 minutes later, when I finally get to look at it, it's like, hey, I'm in public. Okay, what do you think? Should I get these? Now it's a lot better, but I'm glad. I'm so glad that I get to help with these, because some of them you get some really good prices. I gotta be honest.
As any viewer of this channel knows, if they're watching, they know that you're just the master of all things boutique labels and films in general, and I need to consult with the master so I'm not like being robbed blind,
I mean, that's the perfect opportunity to throw out the Patreon of the Discord. We talk about deals like that every single time. So if anybody's into it, Jeremy's on there.
Yeah, if you want a membership is not that expensive to have fun and talk to like-minded people, and if you pay for there's 3 tiers.
Yep.
If you get the top tier and pay for your own flight, I'll let you come touch my hair.
You have to be top tier for at least 3 years first.
Yeah, that's true. You have to stick around. You can't just get it for a month and expect to touch my hair. I got Memorial Valley Massacre.
Yeah.
Cemetery of Terror.
That's a great one.
The 11th Commandment and Rest in Pieces.
Another great one.
Those were the 4, 2 of which are out of print, limited edition out of print on Vinegar Syndrome. And they were all like $20 or less.
Yeah, or less.
Oh, and Perfect Strangers. I got 5.
Oh, yeah, Perfect Strangers is really good too.
Some of them were like $15. It was a bargain. I was happy. So yeah. So those are really my most recent pickups. Because I haven't gotten any big packages in the mail.
I've got 2 that I wanted to share with the group. One, just because the title is so provocative, I guess, but in all reality, to remind everybody something, LA AIDS Jabber, just in case you bought this, this was supposed to come with the poster. And if you didn't realize that, a lot of them went out without the poster. Mine happens to not have it. And you have to email Visual Vengeance and they will send you one direct to your house. So you don't need to worry about all the other crazy replacement anythings. It was just a mistake with some of the packaging, and they'll get you one. So it's just to remind you of that. And then literally months ago, I saw somebody link this and said, they actually have your size. You should get this because it's hilarious. I found for fairly cheap, and that's the only reason I even entertained this. And then this company literally, I don't know the name of the company, but they literally forgot to print the shirt for like 5 months. I had to email them, and then after I pestered them, had to email them again a few weeks later and say, hey, you never got back to me when you said you were going to. And she was like, oh, I'll ship it on Monday. And then they did. But this is the funniest piece of like, they are clearly not paying for a trademark for this that I've seen in a long time. So first, gotta get down on Friday is the headline on this shirt.
We all know what that's from.
I can't see if it shows. Okay, look how bad Jason is. Like the neck on this dude. Okay, I'm gonna go like
really
this.
Long neck.
Just so you can see Jason, dude.
Yeah.
Swole Jason. Who is this purple head? What? That looks like a Muppet.
And
what is
why
this
is it
style?
smiling? I've never seen a smiling decapitated head.
Smiling decapitated in a trash can.
Yeah, with slime.
Which just solidifies the whole Muppet idea.
Yeah, it just looks like Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson with a ski mask on a green hoodie.
Did you have something physical that you want to share with everybody, maybe?
I do. Also, by the way, since we're just talking about pickups, I haven't picked it up yet, but something that I saw came out that I really want to get is that Final Destination collection.
Wait, hold on. Is the head supposed to be Rebecca Black?
It might
be. That
Can
makes
you hold
sense.
it up again?
Yes.
Dead
Sea Life, if this is accurate, I feel like an idiot. And you know what? It very much might be.
I didn't even think of that either. I mean, it's a fairly generic purple head with dark hair, but
to be fair, that is exactly how she looked in the original video.
With a purple head?
Well, not really, but I'll allow it, I guess.
I think it might. Maybe that was their intention, at least. I think
could have been.
That commenter might be right, but I do want the Final Destination box set.
It looks great for a studio release. It looks really good.
Yeah, that's one of my guilty pleasure franchises. I really.
Why guilty?
Because it's super cheesy. A lot of people don't like it, but I love it.
They're fantastic.
I love even the later ones that aren't as good. Like 2 is amazing. 1 and 2
is
are
incredible. Yeah.
And I also want to get that imprint release of Things to Do in Denver When You're Dead, because I love that movie.
Yep.
I never thought we'd see that on Blu-ray. I have the DVD, which even that's hard to come by.
Yeah.
So those are ones I'm going to pick up. So something that did come in the mail yesterday.
It's going to be hard to show in front of the camera.
Is this a Webby Award?
Jeremy won a Webby.
I could have had a better introduction than that. This came in the mail today.
Jeremy got mailed a Webby Award. He is the proud recipient of a Webby, which is a pretty damn big deal. So just publicly wanted to say congrats, dude. That's awesome.
Buddy. I'm really happy about it. Very honored and humbled. I work on a lot of television. That's the quote unquote day job when I'm when I'm not doing comedy shows around town or working on scripts and so on and so forth. But I've been doing that for about 8 years, and hence why I'm in the Producers Guild of America as well. Thanks so much, Alyssa. Thanks, Quiet Rob. Yes, it is a giant spring with 101100110 on there. You know what I always, actually, I made this past weekend, thanks, Brian. This past weekend, I made an appointment at the Apple Bar, the Genius Bar. And I figured, you know what? It's 101000110 somewhere. It's a dumb joke. But anyways, this is for a project I worked on that got nominated and won for Best Documentary. So anybody who was mainly involved in the process of creating it, such as myself, got a Webby.
Yep. The Apple Bar joke, that was a shout out to all of our binary friends.
So. Yes. Which thanks, nerd. Thanks, Flickering Waves. The person who said they thought it was a Razzie for American Movie. Can you imagine if American Movie got a Razzie? Jeff said that. And then if they accidentally sent it to me.
And then even worse, like that they actually paid to send a giant heavy trophy to the winners of the worst movies when they didn't attend.
I know. It's such a terrible award. What I don't even know that gentleman's name, the guy that several people in your Patreon thought looked like me. Do you know his name off the top of your head?
From American Movie or from something else?
From American Movie.
I don't know. We will let's go into that when we get to the announcement.
Okay,
so that's
great.
a great transition.
Okay, great.
It's our announcement show. Let's talk about some announcements.
I'm
And
glad
what's crazy,
useful for something.
what's crazy, it is only 1 week since that Vinegar Syndrome sale happened last Thursday night. We are going to cover first off the things that were announced by Vinegar Syndrome, just in case you missed them.
Oh yeah, you did a super long back-to-back streams a week ago.
Yep,
and now
really
we're gonna break
did
that record tonight, baby.
We absolutely might. Although I still think Brad from Vinegar Syndrome has the longest stream with me. It was like,
what was it, like 4 hours?
Like 3 hours and 20 minutes. And man, did I have to pee after that. But we got done, and everybody else is like, at home going to get snacks, whatever. We got done. Brad talked to me for like another 50 minutes off of live, and we just hung out. And I'm like, dude, it is 2 o'clock in the morning. I drank 3 water bottles in the last 4 hours.
I gotta go. You're a lovely person, but I have to go.
Oh, okay. Dead Sea Life says, for anybody close to Connecticut, the Archive, Vinegar Syndrome's physical store, is having an in-store sale this weekend. That is awesome.
Yeah, I see people post about that in the group all the time, and I wish I lived nearby because it looks like a great spot to go to.
Very jealous. I am still like trying to ease up to asking my wife to plan the next vacation around Knoxville, Tennessee, and then Orbit, and then the Archive, and then I think there's one more that I was going to try to fit in there, and she'd be like, something doesn't make sense here.
Yeah, things that she would want to see in those same areas. Like Knoxville, Tennessee has Raising Cane's chicken, and I don't know.
All for Raising Cane's chicken. VS announced their newest VSA last week, 1986's Unmasking the Idol, and this looks wild considering that is a baboon. Did you take a look at this one? Did you watch the trailer at all?
I didn't watch the trailer, no.
So is he in this shot too? Oh yeah, he's right there in the front. It just looked like a
wearing the same outfit as the guy.
Oh dude, you have got to see the trailer. And if you did not get this as part of use the sub discount and all that, this looks so worth it.
I didn't yet, but I'm going to. Yeah,
so worth it. 1986. This one is 90 minutes long. Duncan Jacks is a world-renowned secret agent and happens to be an expert ninja. When he's not saving the world from international terrorists, he spends his time training in martial arts with his baboon sidekick, aptly named Boone.
I see that now, Boone.
However,
Duncan Jackson Boone.
Duncan Jacks and Boone the baboon. However, Duncan's new mission may be the most dangerous of his career when he is tasked with stopping the sale of atomic weapons and defeating a mysterious mass supervillain known only as Scarlet Leader. If successful, not only will Duncan escape with his life and save the world again, but he will become rich beyond his wildest dreams after discovering a secret treasure being held in Scarlet Leader's lair. Man, some of these the synopsis from movies from like the mid 80s, I could have sworn it was about 5 movies, and they're just mixing all of them. It's so perfect.
And you're like, whatever they were on, I want some. Like just 5 different movies that each have the most convoluted plot individually, and then combined together into one movie.
Luckily, 3 of them have a baboon.
Thank God. There's not enough baboon movies out there,
especially in modern times. That is true.
Uh-oh. Somebody commented, the baboon is rad. We know that.
Oh, funny enough, I'm not even seeing the baboon is rad comment yet.
No, sorry, comment on your Instagram.
Oh, nice. Oh, yeah, I totally lost that. Yep, I was looking at our comments. The coolest thing for me, comments. You can't? Oh, because you're on your phone, huh?
No, I'm online. Oh, how do I look at them?
Yeah, you click the word comments on the side there.
Oh, great. I literally, every time I've been on here, I've never knew that. I just waited for you to bring them up on the screen.
Well, now I'm glad that you can participate with us.
Oh, amazing.
Sardis wants to know if this is based on a true story.
I wish.
So the coolest thing for me on this one, I love when they make these making of documentaries. This one's got an extended making of featuring interviews with the director, the lead actor, a few of the other actors, cinematographer. And then on a movie like this, they've got multiple stuntmen that they interview for this, which sounds great.
Yeah. Speaking of Vinegar Syndrome, I know we're going through new releases and everything, but just the other night I was at a friend's house, and for the first time, and I believe, I could be wrong, but I think this was a Vinegar Syndrome release. No, this one wasn't. We were deciding between 3 different ones, and one of them was a Vinegar Syndrome release. Anyways, I watched Evil Dead Trap for the first time.
Ooh, Unearthed, nice.
It's wild. Oh, is that who put that out? Unearthed?
Yep, just recently, yeah.
Oh, really? It was crazy. It was a lot of fun. The other one, what was the one that was? Because there was one where I was like, this seems like a totally Massacre Sisters. Is that what it's called?
Oh,
yeah.
No, I know which one you're talking about though.
Oh, okay.
Let me, for some reason, I've not seen this movie in ages. Somebody's probably going to beat me in the comments to say the correct answer before I get there on the Vinegar Syndrome website.
Yeah, it's an older one.
Nightmare Sisters?
Nightmare Sisters, yes, that is correct.
With Linnea Quigley?
Yeah, we almost watched that one, but we watched Evil Dead Trap instead.
Nice.
But I was like, I didn't know that it was a Vinegar Syndrome release, and he's showing me the trailers so we can decide. Flicker and Waves got it. And I was just like, I bet you this is a Vinegar Syndrome release. It looks like a Vinegar Syndrome movie.
Yeah. The funny thing about Unmasking the Idol is there is actually a sequel to this. And I'm kind of shocked that we did not get the sequel with this. And John Stumpf is even here praising it. That was its sequel, and this is accurate. It is called The Order of the Black Eagle, where the stuntman gets his head ran over by the ATV and the baboon drives a baboon-sized tank.
What? I need that in my life immediately.
See, with that synopsis, how do we not get a double feature? I mean, we've got PSAs that have 3 films.
Oh, yeah, several times. And many double feature packs, for sure.
Yep.
What, do you think they'll release it eventually, or do you think it's a rights issue, or what?
It's probably a completely different rights holder, sadly. Especially with stuff like this. Usually, he miraculously got funding for this first one, and then some other studio had a studio head that loved it, and nobody else loved it. So the original studio was like, "You made us no money," and then the other studio was like, "I mean, it was cool. We'll give you a little bit." And so they bring him on, and now it's probably going to be screwed forever, sadly.
Son of a bitch. We need to track that down anyways and watch it, even if it's not a Vinegar Syndrome release.
Self-release it. Let's do it.
I need to see the baboon tank.
I love that you say that as this chick is licking through a phone. So I just brought up Vinegar Syndrome announced some porn this month. Yay, Jeremy's favorite.
Buy all the porn from Vinegar Syndrome exclusively.
Part of their Peakorama line, they put out the Young Like It Hot and the Sweet Young Foxes double feature. They have released this now on DVD, a very limited Blu-ray that has been gone for a long time. And now this got the 4K treatment. And this is a pretty big deal because Kay Parker is in this, and she is a very famous name. But also, they're directed by Bob Chin, who is one of the most beloved in the adult cinema scene. And I gotta be honest, for the people that like adult films, this is probably the highest quality adult films that Vinegar Syndrome has, and to get this on 4K genuinely is a pretty big deal, and it's a double feature. So
despite the fact that I'm not interested in the porn title releases, even their porn or adult film titles have fantastic covers.
Yep,
they're very enticing despite the fact that I don't want to get them personally.
I love this side. This would have made an incredible poster.
Yeah, it's great.
Brian says the old like it cold. The young like it hot, the old like it cold. That is perfect.
You got bitter old raccoons.
Jeff is asking if these are 70s films. They're actually from 83, both of them. So yeah, it was just a good year. For this is newly scanned and restored again. They also have a brand new interview with the director, Bob Chin, and then they got the archival stuff on there. So it is, there's genuinely a reason to upgrade if you got the old stuff, because Bob Chin's kind of a legend in adult cinema. So good stuff. Then they announced, as also part of their Peakorama line, again, really great cover here. The whole using the negative space here looks great. Yeah. This one is called Pandora's Mirror, and it is from 1981, starring Veronica Hart. Here is the backside. A little less enticing, but it's a Peakorama one, so that kind of makes sense there. This one sounds a little interesting. It says, while out for lunch with a friend, Pandora feels an unexplained compulsion to that was a weird way to say that. Compulsion to visit a small antique shop. While browsing, a large mirror catches her attention, seemingly casting a spell over her. Despite warnings by the shopkeeper to be wary of its enveloping powers of sensuality, Pandora cannot overcome her strange desire to gaze into it, visiting the store again and again, each time learning a bit more about the mirror's debauched past and corrupting powers. A sensation Pandora is soon a slave to. Yep.
No comment.
Brian wants to know if Bob is related to Balls and Chin, and I don't think so. I'd have to look it up. I love that Jeremy looks a little confused. Bob's last name is Chin, so the person's name would be Balls on Chin.
Got it. I got it now.
Cool.
Apparently, I'm not as good of a comedian as I thought.
Terry says, between watching the preview and knowing that Michael edited the Bob Chin interview, was an easy pickup. Nice. For those that don't know, Michael Keane is another YouTuber who does great stuff. He's directing a film right now, and he does a lot of the editing work for Vinegar Syndrome.
I really liked Michael Keane in Birdman. He did a really good job.
You're back. Good job.
I need to redeem myself a smidge.
Vinegar Syndrome, known for releasing their catalog slipcovers during sales. They did release 2 more, and both of these are for some of their adult films. Just in case you were interested in them but don't know, they don't necessarily sound like adult films when you're looking at the synopsis for Trashy Lady and Blue Ice, but these are gorgeous covers. And like I said, they are definitely adult films, but they're ones, it's got a story involved. It's good stuff still.
Trying to sell me on it.
I'm trying.
So this whole sale was primarily for Peakorama titles, essentially, huh?
That's the hard thing. So that's how a lot of people responded. But the sale itself was primarily for for titles that they are archiving. They're actually in their physical archive. Mm-hmm. And unfortunately, because it's not unfortunately, but unfortunately for people that aren't into adult films, that's they started basically as an adult film company, and so most of what they have archived is adult films. And then when the exploitation stuff started taking off, a lot of the titles that they've gotten, either they've done the restoration and then the original company is still archiving it, or they've gotten stuff from overseas and they've had to work with labs elsewhere, and because of all that, they are not personally archiving it.
Gotcha.
So yes, it was a very Peakorama heavy sale, but certainly not only.
Yeah, I saw a couple other. Auntie Lee's Meat Pies was on sale. And
definitely. They had some prints for sale. I actually really like this one. They called it Celluloid Sunset, and it looks just like the... I'm completely going to blank on the title, but it's to play off of another slipcover that they've released previously. Terry will get it in just a second. Flickering Waves, he'll tell me. I don't know why I can't remember it, but... this one looks great. And then they did this one, which this is called Sea of Writhing Flesh. And let me see if I can zoom in for everybody here. There we go. You see what this poster actually is?
Gotcha.
And then if you looked in the bottom corner, it even has the Peakorama branding and 2 people getting it on right above it.
From zoomed out, it honestly looks like a bunch of weed buds.
Yep. Malibu High. Thanks, everybody. Oh, Rob got it first, except he said Malibu.
Yeah. That's a good one.
Yeah, Malibu High is great.
It also kind of looks like that shirt they released during one of the previous sales too that I picked up.
They also released a print for Jungle Blue. I'm trying to hurry through Jungle Blue, but we'll get back to that in a second. You said it looks like a shirt. Oh, I didn't put a picture of it. Are you serious? They released a shirt of this design. I don't know how. Of the Sea of Writhing Flesh.
Oh, that shirt?
Yeah, they released a shirt with this
you want to walk around wearing a bunch of people fucking?
Yeah. Brian says it reminds me of a dirty version of the prints you saw at the mall in the 90s. You have to put your face up close to it and then back up slowly while crossing your eyes. And then suddenly there's just tits.
I was in the single digits in the 90s. So I guess I don't remember those.
You don't remember the magic eye posters?
No.
That you would like put your face up close to and then back away slowly, and it would be like a 3D picture in it?
In the mall specifically?
They sold. I had them in school even. There was like books of them with. Anyways, this is a weird tangent to go off.
I was born in '92, so I don't know when the '90s we're talking about, but I would have been really young.
How did you both see a sailboat? This is such a funny random happenstance.
It does kind of look like it looks like a little pink. Only the pink part looks like a little tugboat, like that a kid would play with in the back.
Okay, except it's literally two people.
A kid would not play with that once you zoom in.
Oh man, that got weird.
So zoomed out, I see a bunch of weed buds and
a sailboat,
a little sailboat, just like Flickering Waves and Jeff and Brian.
Anyways, they also released this wonderful print of Jungle Blue, a Carlos Tobalina film. And this is another adult film that is wild. Tobalina is a legend for all the right ways. And yeah, if you've never seen Jungle Blue, this is actually a pretty cool print. Love it.
Oh, I can't click on these, huh?
No, you can't.
Jeff said, "Don't you remember Mallrats?" Which I guess is in reference to the poster thing you were talking about.
Yep, it is in Mallrats.
I have seen Mallrats, of course. It's just been so long, so I don't actually remember that part. So therefore, I still don't remember those posters.
I think that's all Vinegar Syndrome. Yes, that is all of the Vinegar Syndrome. Next up, we got, I think this is our first announcement from, I never know what to say, whether it be Raro or Raro Video, whatever. This is our first announcement from them since like before the pandemic, I think. They are now a partner label of Kino Lorber, so please only buy their titles from Kino Lorber. They are notorious for like taking pre-orders and then not releasing the film for 18 months or 2 years. And it gets crazy. So wait for it to actually come out, then buy it from Kino Lorber and only do that.
That's interesting that Kino Lorber is doing partner labels now.
I mean, they've been doing it for a while. They've got Cohen Media that they've had for a while.
Oh, that's with Kino?
Yep.
Oh, yeah. I guess, yeah, now that I think about it,
Code Red is technically a partner label of Kino now. They do distribution for them. Same with Scorpion Releasing.
I did not know that.
Yeah. So lots going on over at Kino, thankfully. This one is Nick the Sting from 1976. And some of these Raro titles, they are surprisingly great. They don't always have the best scans, sadly, but it's probably the only release we're ever going to get of these films. So this one, Nick the Sting, is another slam bang action movie from Pulp movie master Fernando de Leo, who is an incredible director. Luke Miranda stars as small-time con man Nick Hizard, who gets caught up in the bigger scams of crime boss Robert Clark in Geneva, Switzerland. Nick gets involved in jewel-related insurance scams, but soon realizes that Clark is about to execute a double cross. So Nick gets a team together and concocts an elaborate scam of his own involving false arrests, fake murders, and prop police stations. This high-stakes game of double and triple cross will either put Nick on easy street or straight into the grave. So this is great, but one of the things that are really cool here is that Italian cinema in the 60s and 70s, they did a lot of split-screen stuff, and this has a video history of 60s and 70s split-screen cinema by Mike Malloy. And that type of thing is so niche that you pretty much, I mean, I'm just so intrigued by it.
Yeah.
Video Man and Artsploitation is also a partner
Yeah,
on
I saw
Kino.
that, which I did not know that either. I liked a lot of their releases.
Yep. What's going on, by Fur?
Hey.
John
Oh,
says anything with
good
Lee
job.
J. Cobb gets a watch from me.
Wow.
And that is this one. So you got to watch it. I mean, prop police stations. That just sounds amazing.
How long do you think that video history bonus feature is?
The fact that they're not highlighting it with a time says it's probably less than 20 minutes,
Yeah.
but still pretty damn cool.
Yeah.
And the other thing, this is not the only Raro title. We are also getting this one, and this has all kinds of special features on here. So this is a word that I do not know how to pronounce. So I'm going to say the English title, which is The Camp Followers. This is from 1965, and it is a heartbreakingly moving wartime drama starring the luminous Anna Karina and directed by the great Valerio Zerlini. Lieutenant Martino can no longer stand the death and disease surrounding him in Athens and puts in a request to be relocated. So along with Sergeant Castagnoli, he is tasked with delivering 12 prostitutes to various military outposts across the Axis territory. It is an unpleasant task, made even more so by the fascistic Major Alessi, who they pick up along the way. Karina plays Elenitsa, a soft-spoken prostitute who develops a sympathetic relationship with Martino. Alessi becomes increasingly unhinged during the journey, becoming a violent and maniacal supporter of the Black Shirts, whose brutal tactics tear the group apart. This one has an introduction by Marco Moulier, the professor at the Shanghai Film Academy and former director of the Venice and Rome Film Festivals, and it's got a full audio commentary that is brand new by Danielle Hipkins, professor of Italian Studies at Exeter. Pretty damn cool.
Yeah. I don't think I own any Raro videos.
There are a few I would really recommend.
I have a lot of boutique labels. I don't think I have any from them.
So the last one was from DeLeo. That was the director. They have two DeLeo or DeLeo. It's probably pronounced DeLeo. Collections. Each one has at least 3 films, I think.
Mm-hmm.
And then they put out. This one is good. Live Like a Cop, Die Like a Man. This is a great film, and this one's by Deodato, which a lot of people know and love, because he has directed all kinds of famous films, obviously.
Yeah.
You can see from some of the clips, or not clips, but the stills on the back, it's they're not like calm films. These are pretty dang good.
Yeah, that sounds that looks good. That set looks good.
They've got a Fulci title even. And can I show this? Yes, I can. This is Fulci's Touch of Death. Good stuff. Which classic Fulci on the back.
Classic Fulci.
Let's see. Camp Follower sounds like a winner to Sardis. And that's a good question. Silent Mandible says, I wonder if the split screen bit influenced Gaspar Noé's Vortex, the one with Argento.
Yes. I loved Vortex, by the way. It was one of my favorite films of last year.
Nice.
They showed that at Beyond Fest.
That's right. Wasn't it that the premiere?
Yeah, very early too.
Yeah.
Come out for a couple months after that.
There was a whole bunch that premiered at Beyond and then waited forever to actually.
I think the longest one.
Yeah, that was like what,
that
8 months?
Come out just a couple months ago, and it
yeah,
was in like September, October of last year.
Yeah. Mike Malloy had that insanely niche supplement on the Murphy's Law disc from '88 about movies with 2 men in handcuffs. Wow. So he is just all about like, hey, you know that one trope in movies? Let's do a featurette on it and really talk about it. That's awesome.
That's funny.
I kind of want that. Let's see. 88 films also released Live Like a Cop, Die Like a Man, or Die Like a Pussy. That is that one I just showed. The Deodato. Griff is here. What's going on, Griff? Video Man and says Artsploitation is the one that released his movies here in the States.
Oh, which movies?
Let's see. I still got the link open from he emailed me. Let's see if I can pull it up.
I think I have a couple from Artsploitation.
I've got a few too
that I really enjoyed actually.
He did Christmas Blood.
Okay.
And How do you pronounce this one, Video Man? Is it Husette? Is that appropriate? That's probably not it. It's probably not Husette. That looks like it would be like Husay or something. And then the last one, Pandemonic.
Mm-hmm.
Pandemonic.
Not the ones I have, but I'll check them out.
Did watch the last 2 shorts on the second disc on No Ways. Couldn't deal with either. Oh, okay. Husette is the word house, or Husay.
Okay.
That's the translation.
Okay.
Thanks, Video Manin. All right, so that was the
Your favorite Noe film?
Me?
Yeah.
Ooh.
Curious we're talking about him.
I mean, I still think his best made film is probably still going to be Irreversible.
Yeah.
And it was the first one I saw. I think it was the first one I saw.
Yeah.
I do have to admit that it was one of my favorite movie watching experiences over the last 2 years, because when Indicator released their version of it, and it's this giant, beautiful package, and
I have that too.
I put it in, warned the wife, like, there are a couple scenes that are a little difficult to watch. One of them is a sexual assault. And so I pop on the movie, and for those that haven't seen Irreversible, slight spoilers, I won't get too far into it because somehow a lot of people still haven't seen it and they're planning on soon. So I said there's a sexual assault, but there's a couple scenes that are a little rough. And one of the really like shocking scenes for people, it's like 4 minutes into the movie. So we're sitting there, there's some music playing, whatever, and then that scene happens in the club, and she's like, oh, this is that kind of movie. And it was just like, okay, so she understands it. So yeah, that was
glad we got it out of the way right out the gate.
The sad thing is, I think she may have even fallen asleep before the sexual assault. But what's funny, she falls asleep a lot during movies, and a lot of the time, if it's one that she really liked, she'll make sure to look at me, as we're actually going to bed after I woke her up and said, it's over, let's go. And she'll say, okay, what happened after I fell asleep? And I'll explain it to her, but that's only for the movie she likes. So that's the way I gauge it. If she didn't ask, she could not possibly care less. But for Irreversible, she's like, so it was interesting because it was backwards, but what happened after that? And I explained everything, and I said, it's a gut punch of a movie because of the last 20 seconds. And this is why you need to know how it's so important.
Yeah. Yeah. It's really, really well done. Yeah.
I didn't know we were going into a character study of Irreversible. Has she ever seen a whole film? Yes.
Good question.
A few. Let's see. This one sounds kind of crazy. We were talking about Kino partner labels. Here's another one of them. This is Cohen Media Group putting out Monsieur Hire from 1989. This is a new 4K restoration of the erotic thriller. A young girl is brutally murdered. The prime suspect is a cold and reclusive man who is obsessed with his beautiful neighbor. He spends his nights watching her through his window, but when she discovers that she is being spied on, she becomes the aggressor, an erotically charged relationship that leads to a deadly game of cat and mouse. Now, I had heard about this one previously. Have you ever seen this? Speaking of cat and mouse?
Cat Stevens wanted some attention.
Nice.
Let's say hi to the disconnected followers.
That was beautiful. I've not seen this. I don't know if this. It kind of makes it sound like it could be a rape revenge film type of thing, but interesting at least. And I've heard good things about this previously. This does have a new audio commentary, and it's got a brand new 4K restoration. And there's a new interview with the director and the star.
Eric said it's great.
They went all in on this. That is enough for me. Eric is a very classy individual that has kept meticulous records on all of his movie watching for years, like decades.
Impressive.
So, yeah. It is based on the same source novel as Panique. Very nice. Brian loves Cat Stevens, both the cat and the human.
Oh, that's good. Cat Stevens hates everyone.
That checks out.
I don't know about Yusuf.
We are getting on October 18th from RLJE The Innocents from 2021. Oh dang. So I said records for decades, and I undersold them. Since 1989. Genuinely decades.
Yeah. 3 decades.
Yeah, 3 and almost a half.
Yeah.
The Innocents. This is one that I've surprisingly heard decent things about. Have you seen this one yet? I'm sure you have.
I have not seen this one.
Whoa.
I know. So shocked.
Video Manon worked on this one for 2 weeks.
Oh, amazing.
Very nice. Yeah, this is a foreign film. During the bright Nordic summer, a group of children reveal mysterious powers. But what starts out innocent soon takes a dark and violent turn in this gripping supernatural thriller. This is streaming on Shudder right now. So if you want to watch it first, perfect time to watch it. I believe Shudder, it's one of those, yeah, because it's RLJE. So it's one that Shudder got the rights to, and then RLJE is doing the distribution.
And IFC Films, which I fully trust pretty much on just about anything.
They have they've done a lot of really great things for indie horror, and not just like a guy in a backyard filming a movie, but just no studio attached, somebody doing a great movie for like $100,000, because those for people that have never been anywhere near the industry, those are incredibly difficult to get made. It is sometimes like 10 times more difficult to get made than a $10 million movie, which is stupid.
Yeah, that's crazy. The industry sucks.
Yeah.
I can speak firsthand.
As you're sitting in it. Video Manon says it is a Norwegian movie from the same writer who wrote The Worst Person in the World and Reprise. Very nice.
Okay.
Ice says breaking. It looks like Cohen Media just acquired the Hanway films. Interesting. I'm gonna have to look that up.
World was one of the best movies of last year.
I'm
even more intrigued by Innocence.
I think I talked to you about that one. The Worst Person in the World was coming in that trilogy set.
Yeah, you did. We talked about that.
Did you look into that ever? Because I don't think I've got mine yet. I need to look at it. Yeah.
That was on Orbit or Diabolic?
Diabolic. I think they both have had it now.
Okay.
So I'm not. Just smacked my mic. I'm not sure which one was cheaper.
Okay.
Jeez. Sardis says I also had a 15-year history documented, complete with thousands of screenshots, several thousands of films, but an idiot got control of the site and deleted when he got pissed at everybody. Oh my gosh.
What travesty. That's not exactly the same, but that's essentially what Letterboxd is now, huh? Like a record.
Yeah, kind of. I think it'd be difficult to do screenshots or something like that, but I'd love to see them implement that.
That'd be fun. But at least you can keep a diary of your movie watching history, which I think is fun.
Saw that Jason DeMarco, the co-creator of Toonami, recommended this on Twitter earlier. Very nice.
Oh wow,
that's really cool.
I remember.
Next one up, Medusa. This is coming from Vinegar Syndrome partner label Music Box Films. Most of the Music Box Films releases so far this year have been put out by OCN, but not getting like Vinegar Syndrome site releases with the slipcover and everything. So this, I believe, is just coming straight from Music Box, not going to be on their site for some reason. And this is one that sounds pretty interesting. Mary and her friends broadcast their spiritual devotion through pastel pinks and catchy evangelical songs about purity and perfection. But underneath it all, they harbor a deep rage. By day, they hide behind their manicured facade, and by night, they form a masked vigilante girl gang, prowling the streets in search of sinners who have deviated from the rightful path. After an attack goes wrong, leaving Mary scarred and unemployed, her view of community, religion, and her peers begins to shift. Nightmares of repressed desires and haunting visions of alluring temptation become undeniable, and the urge to scream and release her paralyzing inner demons is more powerful than ever before. I mean, that sounds super intriguing.
Yeah, I'm in.
Love this art too.
Yeah, the cover is great.
I'm willing to bet that this is going to be like, if this had ever gotten a 4K release, the colors on this are probably gorgeous. Video Manon says The Innocents, the one we were just looking at, the first half of The Innocents is a masterpiece. Really liked it, but for me, the last half got a little bit too much. One of the best acting I've ever seen with kids. Wow.
That's good. Because I just got done watching one of the worst acting movies I've ever seen with kids, which was Beast. Those child actors were annoying.
I was kind of intrigued by that one. The CGI looked awful in the preview, but I feel like it's been a while since we've seen a good resurgence in like big name animal attacks films that aren't sharks, because those seem to always be happening. But we need
piranhas.
something. Yeah, that's true. We need something like Beast to just pop off and get, Idris Elba to star in 4 more of these, or somebody to come up and make the next Tremors, not a new Tremors. We don't need 17 of those like Children of the Corn. But
there's already 17.
Sadly, I've seen them all and liked most of them. After Medusa, we got an announcement from Synapse that came kind of out of nowhere. This is Jim McCullough's Creature from Black Lake. This is from 1976, one that a lot of people have been waiting for quite some time. Got a nice limited slipcover on here with the creature, and even the original art that's just going to be on the Blu-ray looks pretty damn good.
Yeah.
This one is going to be limited to 2,500 slips, but it is going to be widely available for a long time. Half the slips, I believe, is how they're doing it. Did I list it? Yes. Half the slips are available from Synapse directly, half from Diabolic. So no one else is going to have the slips for this. And this
one I think I actually like the original cover better.
Yeah, it's pretty damn intimidating.
Yeah.
This is 1976. There's a hairy humanoid beast lurking in the Louisiana swamps, but only trapper Joe Canton has seen it and lived to tell the tale, and the other residents of Oil City, Louisiana don't talk about it. There's a whole bunch of other stuff that happens, but this is supposed to be a pretty damn good one. This is a brand new 4K restoration from the OCN, and the fact that they kept this a secret for so long is pretty great. Synapse usually will say, something to hype up a film and then not release it for like 4 years. This one, I feel like they may have mentioned it years ago, but then genuinely kept it under wraps. And this literally shipping now, available from Diabolic and Synapse. You don't have to wait for anything. I believe this is ready to go. And I think John Peters, who was in the chat a little while ago, I think he's at work, so he may not still be here. He supposedly may be one of the first people to have this in hand, because he was already working on something with Synapse, and they were like, "Oh, you want Creature? Yeah, we'll just put it in and send it out today." And that was the day of the announcement before everything went down. So, yes.
That's cool. That's cool. Did you see this comment from Video Man?
Do any of you know what is up with Grindhouse releasing? I tried to order from them 2 times, but they canceled my order.
Dude, that's the same thing that happened to me with Shout. Ryan and I
Except
were talking.
It wasn't 2 times.
It was 4 times. But what the heck?
Notice how he gave up after 2 and went to Amazon.
Yeah, I don't have Amazon.
I don't know what's up with Grindhouse. If anybody else is here international and you've gotten something from Grindhouse releasing or knows their policies or something, yeah, let Video Man know. I have no idea about that. I think I've only ordered from Grindhouse direct like twice, and each time has been decent. I think it was New Year's or the Black Friday announcement that they did for the Rudy Ray Moore book and their most recent release. It took a long time to finally release, I think, because they had a delay, but I mean, pretty much everybody's had a delay recently, so I don't hold that against them.
Right.
Synapse also came back and pissed some people off. They had announced Satan's Little Helper probably about 6 weeks ago or so. And their story is that somebody saw that they were putting this out and went, "I've got the perfect art for a slipcover." And they said, "Oh, now that this is already out and people are buying it, let's also sell a slipcover version." So you can now get a slipcover for this from Diabolic and Synapse exclusively. Like that last title that we just talked about, it'll be split half and half. Unfortunately, if you had previously bought this on Diabolic and you want the slip, I think they're charging you like $8 or $9 to upgrade. Which I get it. I mean, slipcovers aren't free, and Vinegar Syndrome slipcovers they cost $8 if you get it by himself when they do a catalog slipcover. I don't know. This one feels a little different, a little odd.
It's a cool slip though.
Yeah, it is nice. Sardis, when do you think that 5-hour sci-fi doc will be available? The site said August 20th, but they said not available yet. Here's the thing. So Sardis is talking about the what is it called? It is the same company that put out that super long horror doc on Shudder that was crazy, and they've done like 3 of them. Do you know which one? Did you ever watch the giant documentaries that were put out?
I have not. On Shudder?
They were primarily on Shudder because most people didn't get physical copies. The In Search of Tomorrow is the name of the sci-fi doc. It's put out by a company called Creator VC, and they've done some odd things. Sardis, it says you can digitally purchase it now, and you can buy the Blu-ray now actually, and you can rent it. The Blu-ray is a little expensive. It's $37 plus shipping. It says it'll ship tomorrow. So I think it's available now. For anybody that wants it after I've talked about it, or you just want to talk about it, or look it up, here is the website. It's literally 80sci-fi-doc.com. Next up. Funny enough, somebody just posted about this in our Discord while we were on this stream.
I'm surprised this one's getting so many different distributions.
Well, it's different regions. So Vinegar Syndrome did the one in the US. This is coming out in the UK from Fractured Visions. And just to save everybody, I did try to include this little bit at the bottom. If you have not seen The Scary of 61st and you were curious which one to go for, it is the exact same release as the Vinegar Syndrome release. The only difference is packaging.
Yeah.
Jeremy Long, do you know Francesca Fiorentini?
Yes.
Florentini?
I do. I just did a show with her recently. If we're thinking of the same person.
Is that a common name, Francesca Fiorentini?
I don't remember. Off the top of my head, I don't remember her last name. I think that's the last name of the person. You keep talking about the scariest 60.
Kind of possibly an answer. Jonathan says Grindhouse releasing may not send a Cannibal Holocaust if you live overseas.
But here's my question to Video Man: and did they email you and let you know, like, hey, we're canceling this and here's why? Because if not, Shout Factory was canceling my order, which Ryan knows all about, which is why I was so eager to read your comment. And I'm getting no updates from them. Like, they're not like, hey, sorry, we canceled your order because of such and such and such and such. Just it's canceled. And I think that's very disrespectful, especially for how long I've been buying stuff from them. It makes me angry.
I understand.
Anyways, go on.
Okay, I was invested. Video Man did say, I needed Cannibal Holocaust and the Beyond. I just need everything from Cannibal Holocaust. Love that film. And yes, it will have a 4K release in the US in October. We're going to talk about that in just a minute. So we'll get into more Cannibal Holocaust momentarily. The Scary of 61st. I think you saw this as well, right?
I did. I was in the middle on it. I know a lot of people hate it. I thought it was all right.
So the way I looked at Cannibal Holocaust, I'm so stuck on Cannibal Holocaust. The Scary of 61st. I got done and went, that was really well made. Mm-hmm. I was not the demographic. Mm-hmm. I could see the people that would enjoy it. It was just not made for me. I think the release from Vinegar Syndrome was stupendous. So inevitably, this is also going to be great. A lot of the extras were more interesting to me than the actual feature. So, yeah.
I kind of felt the same way. Because I think I essentially appreciated it as a film. It just wasn't my cup of tea. So I didn't hate it, but I was like, to answer a Video Man, and I do know, I just looked it up, and I literally just did a show with her at the Fourth Wall Comedy Club in July. It's like 2 months, a month or two ago. Maybe it was June, like 2 months ago.
And Video Man says, I worked with a director from Italy who showed me a clip with her from a shot of Francesca Florentini. Remember her because she was so insanely cool.
Yeah, I didn't talk to her too much, but she seemed really sweet, and she had a good set.
Nice. Fractured Visions in the UK, they do genuinely great work, and they are just kind of chugging along. They haven't put out a ton of titles, but they seem to be ramping it up because we're going to be talking about another Fractured Visions announcement during this show tonight. So we'll go into that. Okay. Coming on November 29th from Kino, Peking Express. This is from 1951, starring Joseph Cotten. Everybody's probably going to laugh and make a joke because it's set in the 50s. And last week, they're weird. The 80s sci-fi doc, Sardis says, when you click buy now, it says currently not available. What in the hell?
So false advertising.
It is. I just clicked it. That is so stupid.
Sue.
What the hell?
Weird.
If you click to rent it, it says it's not available. You don't even have the digital file available? What? See, this is the kind of thing I was gonna say. Like, I wasn't gonna shit on them or anything like that, but now I may as well. They've kind of done some crappy things, like when they announced the original horror documentary that they did from the 80s, which I just remember the name because of Darkness being in the title, and the In Search of Tomorrow is the sci-fi title. In Search of Darkness was the horror title. So they did In Search of Darkness, and they announced that it was going to come out on pressed Blu-ray, and most of the customers got burned Blu-rays, and they sent posters not in a poster tube, so they came flattened. It was a rolled poster, just there, flat.
They should know better.
Yeah, I did get.
I saw that one at CD Trader once. By the way, the title sounds very familiar.
And Blu-ray. They've done two now. So there is a In Search of Darkness 2, and they're working on a third one. So yes, they're very like surface level horror documentaries. There's not much that you'll find there and go, oh, I've never even heard of this one for people like us. Yes.
Right. Yeah.
Next one up, coming in December from Grasshopper Films, which we don't get to talk about enough. This is Keen from 2004. This is William Keen, played by Damian Lewis, is barely able to cope. It has been 6 months since his 6-year-old daughter was abducted from New York City's Port Authority bus terminal while traveling with him. Repeatedly drawn to the site of the abduction, Keen wanders to the bus station, compulsively replaying the events of that fateful day as if hoping to change the outcome. One day, he meets a financially strapped woman, Lynn Beddick, played by Amy Ryan from The Office, and her 7-year-old daughter, Kira, played by Abigail Breslin. At a transient hotel, Keen becomes increasingly attached to Kira, and in a harrowing climax, uses her in an attempt to fill the void left by his daughter's disappearance. Now, this is done by Lodge Kerrigan, who also did Clean Shaven, and I somehow have never seen any of Lodge's films, and I don't know how. Clean Shaven was on DVD from Criterion. It has not gotten an upgrade, and I believe the DVD is out of print.
Wow. I don't think I've seen any of his work either. Let me see. Do you know
this one? Go ahead.
Any other titles besides Clean Shaven and Keen?
I think Clean Shaven is his most famous title.
Okay, which, by the way, I love their song "Somewhere Only We Know."
That was a very 2009 joke.
A very specific joke.
Griff has a comment about In Search of Darkness. He got it. The Blu-ray itself was peeling and the case was smashed. I emailed them, but they would never respond to me, so I won't deal with them anymore. I did the exact same thing. I got a burnt Blu-ray and a flattened poster. Never got a response when I asked about it.
I hate that. I hate terrible customer service. It's like, know how to do your business. Oh, it looks like Lodge was a writer on the Girlfriend Experience TV show.
Oh, okay.
So if his work is anything like that, I will enjoy Keen and Clean Shaven, neither of which I have seen.
Can't we just call it Keen Shaven and say you want to see them both?
Keen Shaven.
That was a really dumb joke.
Oh, that's a good one. I like that.
Next up, the classic The Longest Yard with Burt Reynolds is coming in 4K from Kino. Brand new HDR Dolby Vision and SDR masters. This is from 1974, of course, and most people know what this is, so I won't spend too much time on it until we get some more details. Shout Factory, they did 2 drops of their we can only possibly sell 1,500 titles of this for $30 each, so please buy them. Please now buy them. They will sell out quickly. This is limited to the Shout Factory website for 1,500 units. This is a Stuart Gordon film, which that alone should tell you it should not have been a limited title. Period.
Mm-hmm.
The only thing I'll say about this is I think somebody was saying, and it was in the Discord, and I can't remember who said it, but they did some research on Twitter and asked somebody, and it turns out it was sort of related to Corman. And it seems like all of the Corman titles, they are only doing limited, which makes no sense. Corman didn't only do crappy films. Yes, he did a lot of crappy films, but a lot of these, they would sell way more than 1,500 copies.
Sure.
And they own exclusive rights. So why are we being stingy?
Yeah.
It's shitty.
Starting to get a little sick of Shout.
So Stuart Gordon invites you to hitch a ride with Dennis Hopper, just a little name, Dennis Hopper, a ride that is anything but easy in the sci-fi adventure Space Truckers.
Little up-and-comer, Dennis Hopper.
Up-and-comer in 1980 or 96. It is the year 2196. The fiercely independent cargo hauler John Canyon faces a rough road as he attempts to stay in business transporting shipments throughout the galaxy. When John teams up with Stephen Dorff to deliver a mysterious cargo for an astronomical payday, the grizzled trucker takes to the stars for a big score, only to find that he's in a load of trouble. This has a new interview with Barbara Crampton and some legacy features, and it's got something at least. A lot of the Shout Factory exclusives don't have anything. This does not have a new scan. It's got some short interviews, and that's about it.
I just saw Barbara 2 weeks ago at the premiere of Glorious, the new film.
I figured it was that one.
My friend Jay was one of the producers on that, and Barbara is one of the executive producers as well. And I chatted with her for a little bit because I met her last year at Beyond Fest at a screening of You're Next, which I fucking love that movie. And it had pretty much the whole cast there, except for a friend of mine who was in that movie who has since passed away, unfortunately, Nick Tucci. And so they did a nice little shout out to him and spoke some kind words about him during the Q&A. And then I talked to Barbara afterwards and told her that I knew Nick and we talked about him for a little while. And so she's a very sweet lady.
Barbara is one of those superhumans that somehow she is at every single con you ever see advertised.
Yeah.
And she also puts out 6 films a year.
Yeah.
And she plays a major part in 4 of them.
Yeah.
So I don't understand it. She is great. She's still beautiful. Still beautiful.
There's some Crampton clones out there.
Yeah.
Yeah. Clearly.
Let's see. Sardis says there's a video of Hopper getting his star on the Walk of Fame. It was sad where they put it. They didn't even clean up the walls and other garbage, and he looked like he was in bad health. I mean, the Hollywood Walk of Fame is a mess.
Every time I have anybody, it's hilarious you say that because people come out here to visit for the first time or whatever, friends from back east. Not so much now. I've been out here 8 years, but closer to when I first moved here, and they always want to see the Walk of Fame and the Chinese theater, all that stuff right on Hollywood Boulevard. And I'm like, are you sure? Because there's so many other great places I could take you. I was like, there's these great restaurants we can go to. There's like the Getty Museum, all these other amazing places. And they're like, we really want it. And I'm like, okay. And then I take them and they're almost always very disappointed. Like,
I love that we're joking about this. And I came to see you 2 months ago and I went to the Walk of Fame and it wasn't my first time. So I willingly went.
You willingly went without me. And I'm fine with that because I was like, why don't you go there on the day I'm at work?
watched a film in the Chinese theater, and then walked a mile down the Walk of Fame to go to Amoeba. And
Well,
yeah,
Amoeba's worth it, for sure. Amoeba's worth it.
It was, but also it wasn't. The Walk of Fame is in bad shape. Like, I got cussed at by a homeless guy because I walked. That's how bad it was. I got told to get the F out of this town by a homeless man.
Yeah. And you're like, well, I will be, sir, in just a couple of days after Monsterpalooza.
In the moment, I didn't want to agitate him just because I didn't know, but I for a second I slowed down and I was gonna go. I was trying to leave. I can't find my keys, just to see what he did.
Yeah,
but no, I don't like being stabbed.
No, you don't want to be stabbed, especially on vacation.
On the Hollywood Walk of Fame, I would get like 93 diseases
after just seeing the best movie of the year, Everything Everywhere All at Once.
In a chair that's way too small for me. But still not as small as the new Bev chairs.
Oh my lord, yes. I mean, I love that theater, but it hasn't been renovated since it opened.
Scream Factory also announced another limited title with Strip to Kill and Final Judgment. This is, I believe, their first double feature like this in a while, especially to use this whole classic Scream Factory double feature art on the outside. And this... I think it was Final Judgment that had a previous release through Scorpion, or it might have been Strip to Kill. But either way, Strip to Kill is not a great film. This is an odd double feature. I don't think I've seen Final Judgment, so not sure on that one. This has what was it? Strip to Kill bonus features has an audio commentary with the director and star, a bonus audio commentary with director Kat Shea. So the same director has two commentaries for their own film. On-camera interviews with Kat Shea and Roger Corman. And then Final Judgment, loads of features listed for the new 2K scan from the OCN. And that's it. This, like, what? Why is this limited to 1,500 copies? Why are you selling it for $27?
John Peters says, I'm a little sick of Shout too. I'm glad he agrees with me. I'm a bit over it.
I obviously talking to Jeremy for a long time now. I've heard Jeremy cuss before. I've never heard Jeremy cuss so many times other than talking about Scream Factory in the last 5 weeks.
Yeah. And how many times they canceled my order because I'm trying to use this godforsaken coupon code that expires at the end of the month, which I'm sure many of the people in this chat are fully well aware of. And they keep canceling my they don't want me to get the discount.
The other thing that I don't know if people realize, that discount code does not expire, it expires at the end of August, but it doesn't go away if you use it once. You can use it as many times as you want before August 30th.
I heard about that.
So when these got announced, I went to look at how much it would be if I used the discount code again, and it was under the free shipping limit. I was like, God damn it. Like, come on. There's always something here.
Just throw something random. Well, I text you that all the time. Anytime I get something from BestBuy.com, I'm like, Ryan, what can I throw in my cart to get free shipping?
Is there any decent Steelbook that is less than $35 that I can spend?
I'm trying to get Benedetta on Blu-ray, but it's only $15. What else can I throw?
And then the first thing I say is $19.99, and you're like, it has to be after tax. That's only $34.99.
Yeah, I already got the Child's Play Steelbook.
Griff says, surprised they didn't add Strip to Kill 2. Honestly, me as well. I think that would have sold very well if they had both, but I'm honestly not too sad because Strip to Kill is awful. Quiet Rob says, funny story, the Target on Hollywood Boulevard didn't even have a physical media section. Outrageous. This was last year.
Do you live out here in Los Angeles, Quiet Rob? Do you know?
I'm not sure, but possibly.
I thought they did have I've been to that one, the Target on Hollywood Boulevard. I thought I remembered seeing. What are you laughing about?
Because now that I'm looking at it and how long Rob has been following the channel, I have to ask, is this the Rob that I know and I just didn't know that was your account? Because I know that you've watched sometimes. This is going to be a funny revelation. Rob, if it's you and we message on Facebook all the time, let me know that it's you. Because I didn't know for sure. Video Man says someone should release Russ Meyer box on Blu-ray or 4K. Sadly, that will likely never happen, Video Man. The rights in that are with his estate, and those are a shit show. It is bad. The Arrow box set that is this. This is the DVD release. They put out 2 versions of this. You can see why it sold really well. That was really.
I'm automatically intrigued.
So they've only released one of the Meyer films from that on Blu-ray, and that was Faster Pussycat Kill Kill. And now it goes on eBay for like $130 pretty much every day. And I don't know why. If the family has a problem, they would make a killing. Just pay for them to be restored a little bit out of pocket, get a second mortgage on the house, whatever, and then make all of the money in the world ever. I don't get it.
All the money.
Let's see. There was a couple other comments I was going to highlight before the other one. Oh, okay. Quiet Rob says, probably not. I barely use Facebook, but I've been known to have twins running around. I do know another Rob from the LA area that I happened to have lunch with while I was visiting Jeremy. And for a second, I thought it could have been him.
Jeff says, what is Jeremy trying to order? I was trying to get the...
I was going to highlight that in a couple minutes and go over the entire saga if you wanted.
Oh, yeah, we can do that. We'll circle back to you, Jeff.
No, let's do it now, because there are no more Shout Factory announcements, so this is perfect.
Well, I was trying to get basically a lot of the new 4K releases that come with like the limited slipcovers and things like that. So the Chucky collection that they're putting out with all the slips and posters, and Army of Darkness, and
I think you had the Fog.
The Fog. I still hadn't gotten Escape from New York, so that was on there. Prince of Darkness, because I like the ones that come with the records. And I'm forgetting one. Anyways, that was the bulk of it.
Yep.
And so, yeah, and I go in there and I type and I put everything in my cart. I type the code in, and it's still a very expensive order, but like over $100 savings, so win. And they repeatedly are canceling my order, and without any notification whatsoever. The only way I found out that the order was canceled was because I used PayPal. And then PayPal, I would get a notification saying your refund is coming because this order has been canceled, but nothing from Shout Factory whatsoever. And then I thought maybe it's something with PayPal, so I tried using my card directly at checkout instead of PayPal, and then it pops up fraud, which it's not fraud because I've used the card multiple times, not only on Shout, the same card in the past, but obviously I use it every day on a daily basis, so it's not fraud. I tried using multiple cards, like 3 different cards, and they all pop up with this little fraud message. So I'm not sure if my account has been targeted or what.
This was after the first cancellation. Jeremy and I had a long conversation, like what could possibly be the problem, what could be causing this, and then I pointed out that because you're going through PayPal and it's a larger order, the credit card company could say, wait a minute, this could be so many different things. Maybe they are flagging it as fraud. So he went to do it as the card, and the credit card company said, yes, this is fraud. So
no, the credit card company did not say it was fraud. It popped up fraud when I checkout. And so I called Discover and asked them about it. And they said that on their end, they pushed it through. But Discover said, oh yeah, we've cleared that each time, including the PayPal ones. So it wasn't on their end at all. But for some reason, the Shout website is flagging it as fraud.
And it's now been 4 different attempts, or is it more?
4 different attempts. But what's even weirder is that, 5. But
I thought it might have been 5.
Yeah, 5. And then so I'm like, okay, maybe it's something with my account, which is really weird, and the whole other issue. So I risked checking out as guest, and without using PayPal. so that my name wasn't linked to it in case it was a conspiracy theory. And so I checked out as guest without PayPal. No way to check on. That's a problem with the site. You should be able to type in your order number and be able to check the status.
No matter what.
Yes. Check out as guest. So no way to check on the status of my order. And the only way I knew that one was canceled, it lasted longer. Usually they cancel it within a couple hours after I ordered it. This one was a couple days later. I mean, and the only reason I knew it was canceled is because I went onto my Discover card account and saw that had once again been reimbursed onto my card. So they canceled the guest order too. So I don't know what's going on. I'm literally baffled by this. And I guess I'm just not getting anything from Shout anymore.
Which sucks. Griff says, have you ever made returns or complaints to Shout Factory? Sounds like they put you on a double secret block list. So what's happened with any complaints this time where you put in some inquiries?
That sounds like correct to me. It sounds like I was put on some secret double block list. I don't know. I don't think I've ever complained. I mean, I've complained about them to you or in the Facebook group and everything, but I don't think I've ever written them.
They're watching you.
They're watching the Facebook group and they see me. I don't know. I don't think I've ever complained directly to them about anything or wrote to them, honestly.
I will throw out a caveat. For anybody that doesn't know, I am admin on a couple of the collectors' Facebook groups, and there is more than once that I have been messaged by somebody that is in one of these labels to ask me to remove something from the group. And I get people complaining to me all the time because the group rules are a little strict on what we can do, what we can show with their branding. Like we don't allow any like custom slipcovers or anything like that. And this is why, because labels are genuinely in these groups. They like them. They like seeing people's feedback. And unfortunately, they are watching. I doubt that they would ever put you on any sort of list because of an interaction in the group. However,
yeah, it seems unlikely, but it seems very likely that I am on some kind of block list.
Brian says it's like the no-fly zone, but it's the no-buy zone.
I have one more trick up my sleeve that I'm going to try before the end of the month. And otherwise, I guess I just
don't say it here because they're probably watching. Oh, this is going to piss off Jeremy. I put in an $890 order using the code, and it went through with no problem. And I've already gotten to the Child's Play bundle and Red Dawn from the order so far.
I'm not pissed, Michael, but you're not the first person. I mean, again, in those groups, people are posting their big purchases with the code and everything, and I'm seeing all these.
Jeff, sleep well. We love you. See you in the Discord tomorrow, my friend.
Yeah, Quiet Rob says I've been blacklisted. Something's wrong. I know it. What did Jeff say? What have you done with the real Jeremy Long? He says earlier before he left.
Yep.
You mean the porn star? I'm the real Jeremy Long.
Terry says the story's reminding me of my attempt to order from Target during the buy two get one sale. Thought it was a browser issue, but had no issue with placing my recent book order with them. Interesting.
So now this is popping up everywhere because Flickering Wave says Target, and earlier movie
Video Manon or whatever.
Video Manon, yes, said he had an issue with
Grindhouse.
So
the Target thing I've actually heard of before. For those that don't know how the Target buy two get one sales usually work, you can buy obviously you pay full price for 2 items and you get the third item for free. So you get a third off of everything when you do it realistically and you're looking at the prices together. So it's best to buy in groups of 3 to get the highest possible discount. Target, however, they have coded their sales to be customer friendly. So if you buy 12 at once, they don't give you the cheapest 4 for free. They give you every third for free. So it does come out in your favor, but people are scared of that. So people have been going in, buying 3 items, refreshing the site, buying 3 items, refreshing the site. Somebody posted, I think it was on the Blu-ray.com forums, during the last sale, before the sale had even been live for an hour, they put in 15 orders. 15, which means they bought 45 movies, and then they couldn't buy any more. So they
were blocked.
They were trying to. So they messaged customer service, and they said, what's going on? And they said, we reserve the right to refuse service to people during sales like this when they've reached our limit. So during the sale, they have an actual limit.
Wow.
Wild.
Well, I have not hit the limit because if Mike put in an $890 order, mine was...
Yeah, and yours was less than that. Quiet Rob wants to know if you have cleared your browser's cache.
I don't think I have cleared my browser's cache. Would that affect this?
I think I believe there was one time that you tried it in incognito mode, right? Didn't we talk about that? No? I thought we had.
I don't believe we did, and I definitely did not try that.
Maybe it could help, but
I'm not sure how much it would affect it.
I think like 8 years ago, with the way the browsers were programmed, that was a much bigger problem. I don't see that being as much of an issue anymore. Hey, we're talking about Blu-rays.
We got really offset.
Replacement program finally got announced for Jack Frost 2. They were waiting on the proper scan of this for the longest time. Make sure you read the instructions on this one and put in what you need to put in. You have to put in your receipt. You have to show your original disc, and then you get your name and mailing address on there, and they will send you one. The problem with the first disc, for those that don't know, the movie looked great. Unfortunately, it was the cut version, and the big reason that they were selling this is that it was the uncut version. And it was the first time it had ever been on Blu-ray, so a lot of people were stoked on that. And now you finally can. They had, when they got the license and they negotiated everything, they had believed that it was for the uncut version. And when they put it out, that's the only time they found out. People put in the disc all excited and said, no, you're missing scenes. So they reported it to the company, and then they got in the scan and it was still missing the scenes. So this has actually been a problem for like 9 months or longer.
I was going to say, I remember when they announced 1 and 2 at the same time, way back when.
I can't remember if this was supposed to come out last December or the previous December. I could be very long. Sardis says, I have to call in my Kino orders because I can't get my online order to complete when I try to pay. Jeremy just left. That is wild. Sardis, this is probably going to make you laugh. I have spoke to somebody from Kino Lorber, and they've told me that when people call in their orders or when they have to do mail-in orders...
Sorry, I don't know what happened there.
It just disappeared. So Kino Lorber, if somebody has to call in orders or do the mail-in order forms, they literally just go in the website and put in the order for the customer. So when you call in, you are still just getting a website order, which is hilarious.
But Sardis says he has to do that. So he's saying that it doesn't work for him to do it on the web. By the way, this has been very cathartic, everybody, because it's good to know that I'm not the only one having website issues with certain boutique labels.
We are only like halfway through this, so let's keep going.
By the way, even though I have the Jack Frost Vinegar Syndrome one, I still want to get the MVD one because I think those covers are so cool.
And they look great together. Yes.
Yeah. I want to get both of them. I haven't yet.
So this is a timely one to talk about, especially if you're into extreme cinema. This, you can see there's a little bit of censoring on here, but obviously the actual release will not have this. It says available to pre-order on August 26th, which is tomorrow, from a Baroque house. And the way that they worded this announcement is kind of odd. It might be with Unearthed Films, and Steven, who is behind Unearthed Films, I believe he liked my tweet and retweeted it, but didn't really confirm or deny, so not real sure here. This might be a part of the Too Extreme for Mainstream line, though. The issue is certain retailers were just flat out refusing to sell it for him, literally because of the title and because it's too extreme. So this one is called the Blood Corrodes Inside Trilogy. And for anybody that does not know, a Baroque house and the Too Extreme for Mainstream, they are not kidding. These are genuinely extreme gore films or really, really crazy stuff. Like the first film that came out from Too Extreme for Mainstream was called Torment. It was a film inspired by the Gacy murders, and it shows a guy dressed up as a clown, like physically torturing and sexually assaulting another man, and it is a wild one.
Wow.
So yeah, these go there, and if that's your sort of thing.
I'm big of a fan of the even like the Hostel films. I was always like, I mean, I love the horror genre, but that subgenre has never been my cup of tea.
I don't know why, but I've liked them. I like a lot of them.
Hostel
I
movies?
don't. I like Hostel a lot,
Which
and
I think
Hostel.
are relatively tame compared to the ones we're talking about.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Hostel 2 is actually the better film if you've never seen it, by the way.
I have not.
Yeah, so I do like some of these super extreme ones. I don't get a lot out of these, but the way they worded this is odd. So I don't know if I'm the only one not fully understanding this. It says the long-awaited re-release of this trilogy is going to be up on August 26th for the first time in a while. Is it a re-release? It's the first time in a while. That sentence alone doesn't make sense. But then,
a while.
Yes, these films haven't been released since the original 3 DVDs. That doesn't explain the first sentence at all. Thank you. This will be the first time on Blu-ray as well. What? You just said first time in a while.
What's the re-release? What's the re-release part?
Exactly. Then it says the release is supposed to be still associated with the Unearthed Films Too Extreme for Mainstream label, but due to some issues, we cannot discuss Uncle Steven. He has stated it can still be released under the label and supported by Unearthed, but not sold on their site due to the graphic adult content. So a lot of people are asking about this, I guess, for those that are super into the extreme cinema. This will be at the Baroque House website tomorrow. So interesting saga there. It's a journey. Kind of cool. I was stoked that this got announced. Coming on October 18th, we are getting Orphan First Kill. The reason I was going to ask in just a second, the reason this is cool, this was a Paramount only presentation, I believe, and we are getting a full-on Blu-ray already available to pre-order from Amazon and everything. So you liked it. What'd you think overall? And obviously, we're gonna stay away from spoilers because a lot of people haven't talked about it yet.
Right. And by the way, speaking of spoilers, I heard because I went with my buddy Zach, a fellow screenwriter friend of mine, and he was telling me that I guess a Variety article was posted about this movie on release day that literally had spoilers in the article on release day, and the writer and director both like tweeted about it and was like, "What the?" Like really pissed off about it, rightfully so. And so that's very frustrating from a filmmaker standpoint. No, I really enjoyed it. I actually, sorry if anybody who's involved with the film is watching. Sorry, but not sorry, because it's actually a good thing. But I liked it more than I expected I would. I didn't really have high hopes for it, is what I was going to say.
I don't think that is rude in any way. I mean, I hate the term legacy sequel because it means different things to different people, but this is genuinely a legacy sequel. I don't think anybody really saw this coming 18 months ago. And the way that we got this is a lot of the same people. I mean, the main actress is still in this. And
she's fantastic. Did you see The Novice last year?
I did not.
She was amazing in that. She did a really great job. Everybody just knows her from The Orphan, but I think that hopefully that film lets people know, like, oh, she's actually a good actress and can do other stuff too.
Right.
But I like her a lot. But yeah, this genuinely surprised me. It had a great mid-movie twist that, of course, I won't spoil, but really turned it all around. Before that, I was just moderately enjoying it. And then after that, I was like, oh, okay, I'm on board. This is great.
And the original, do you know what year it came out? I can't remember offhand.
2006, I want to say.
Okay, so if it has been 16 years since the first Orphan film, why would anyone think we're going to get a sequel in 2022 for a film that
same actress?
Right. And no offense to the film, because I genuinely really like the first film, especially because for people that watch the channel all the time, I love the show The Shield, and Cheech Pounder's in it, which she's not in a lot of stuff. So I loved this, but then the original film, people really only remembered because of the main twist in the last 4 minutes. That's the main reason it got so much attention. And then to come back and say, this is a prequel 16 years later, we already know the twist. How is it going to be good? But then they threw more twist into this prequel, and it's getting rave reviews.
I liked it way better than I expected.
That's great.
Quick side note, totally unrelated, and we have a lot to get through, but we are trying to beat the record of what's his face, who you had on here. A movie that I saw recently that I actually liked way better than I expected, that I would recommend to the fine folks on this channel, is Fall. Have you heard of Fall?
I have. One of the main reasons that it's been talked about recently is because
Oh, the dubbing thing I heard.
they altered the audio afterwards.
I just heard about that, yeah.
Quiet Rob says the first Orphan was 2009.
Oh, I was off by 3 years.
I mean, either way, 13 years is crazy.
I liked Fall more than I expected, and it got real dark towards the end, which I appreciated. So, it wasn't all kumbaya and rejoicing at the end.
Was the dubbing noticeable in any way?
I personally did not notice it. I found out about it after seeing it, so I wasn't looking for it or paying attention, which I guess is the best way to go into it. I did not notice it. I don't think.
Am I remembering right? They removed curse words to make it be a PG-13.
Yeah, that's what I heard. Yeah, which is kind of ridiculous because there's some other pretty gritty stuff in there that I thought is borderline R anyways.
Right.
Not making an R movie.
And that's one of those things, like even if the visuals aren't there to make it grisly, like if somebody is trapped on a tower that's collapsing, most people are gonna say fuck.
I know.
I
guess it's a breach of contract among other things for the actors involved or something like that.
Jeez.
Because they're altering their performance. Something. I know there's a lot of discussion around it, and ultimately, the making it PG-13 did, from what I read as well, did not really boost their sales or anything like that. It didn't help at all. They should have just kept it R.
Well, and now they better release that on physical with the uncut version. Right. There's no reason that they couldn't put that out unrated.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, that was Orphan First Kill. And I just confirmed, by the way, I look at Brad's runtime, 3 hours and 37 minutes.
Okay. Well, we're approaching 2.
Another kind of surprise announcement. We are getting Punisher Warzone from 2008 in a Best Buy exclusive 4K Steelbook from Lionsgate. Another one of their fancy slipcovers on it.
Something I can add to my Best Buy cart to make it get free shipping.
And the Lionsgate steels for the last year and a half, they've been very, very competitively priced. We're talking, this will probably be $20. It might be live now. It was not when I posted this. Let me see if it is now.
Quick cue. What do you think about that Bullet Train Steelbook that's on Best Buy's site?
It looks a little sad. I did expect it
and it's quite expensive.
The price will drop. If you have not paid attention to pre-orders on Steelbooks at Best Buy, a lot of them get announced at $45, and then within a month of release, they get dropped to $35.
Okay, I'll keep an eye on it. I like that movie so much, and I like the art card part of it, but the Steelbook art itself was a little lackluster to me.
Yep. The Punisher Warzone Steelbook is live, just like Quiet Rob said, but the price is $21.99. They may be raising the Lionsgate prices by $2. So, I mean, that could still come down by release date, and they lower the price automatically. So, no worries there. Another catalog title. Let's talk about To Kill a Mockingbird. This film is 60 years old. 60 years old. This is not the art coming out on the film. Obviously, this is just a poster. They announced it, and everything was not attached to the press release. And I think it's available now. But this one, for those that don't know, Atticus Finch is a lawyer in the Depression-era South, defends a black man against an undeserved rape charge and his kids against prejudice. This is one of the greats of all time. I'm sure you've seen it. What do you think it's To Kill a Mockingbird?
Yeah, I like it.
Good to know. Anyways, the next one, I'm just kidding.
No, I like it. I mean, it is a classic. I don't. It's been so long since I've seen it. I don't have any specific insight in this moment, but obviously it's a classic for a reason.
And the big reason to watch this film is Gregory Peck is a goddamn powerhouse in this movie. He delivers a wonderful performance, and they did not hold out on this release. Except for a couple things. We're getting an HDR10 release instead of Dolby Vision, which is odd for something like this. We're getting To Kill a Mockingbird, All Points of View, Fearful Cemetery, a conversation with Peck, his Best Actor acceptance speech, which I think is really cool that it's going to be on the actual disc. That's pretty rare. We're getting the AFI Lifetime Achievement Award excerpt where they tributed to Gregory Peck, and then a whole bunch of other stuff on here. And it's just a classic. Pretty much, if you've never seen this, you got to see it. Period. I won't talk about this because it's not a movie, but just real quick, if you did not watch the stream on Tuesday, it's up, and me and Garrett from Born to Be Rad, we talked about horror subgenres for a little over 2 hours, and it was great. Super, super fun. If you haven't watched it, it's also available on the podcast. Great time. More fun
than Jeremy being like, I like To Kill a Mockingbird.
Yeah, Garrett never said anything bad about Gregory Peck, so he is ahead of you. Before I go into Ghost Watch, what is your favorite subgenre of horror, to put you on the spot?
Probably, is what would psychological?
That was the last one that we went on, and
I was about to say mindfuck as if that was a subgenre, but
that's what I called it.
Oh yeah, really?
Yeah, and I know you haven't watched the stream because you're busier than all hell, but at the end of it, I said I love psychological thrillers, and if I had my way, I would pretty much just always call them mindfuck movies.
Yep.
And they are incredible. The crazy thing with horror subs, you can literally fit some of these movies into like 9 of them at once. So that's I love talking about horror subs.
That's my favorite. Oh, there's so many, but that's my definitely favorite. One of my favorites of all time, which I just rewatched recently, actually, with a friend of mine who hadn't seen it yet. 1408 is one of my all-time favorites as far as like the psychological horror film. I think what I was gonna say for a second before I remembered, psychological horror. Therefore my second favorite subgenre, I believe, would be the home invasion.
Ooh, and see, we didn't get into home invasion. We did talk about isolation horror a little bit because it's sort of similar. And what's funny, you dropped 1408. For the psychological thrillers, I dropped one of my favorites, another John Cusack. I dropped Identity. I love that movie.
So good, yeah.
Love that movie.
Both of those movies, yeah. Identity, I love. At that point in time when I watched that in my life, because that came out in like the early 2000s, I think 2001. Yeah. And I was pretty young, but I remember watching it but I don't at that point in time, because my film knowledge wasn't nearly as vast. That was like one of the best twists. I mean, it's still an amazing twist, but that was like one of the best twists I had ever seen at that age and at that point in my viewing experience of film.
That was another movie that didn't hold back. Like there was a freaking head in the dryer.
Yeah.
That was crazy.
Yeah.
Jacob Ladder. Yeah, that's a classic. Jacob Ladder is
a classic. I love that.
Wonderful PTSD movie. While we were talking about To Kill a Mockingbird, Sarda said, I love courtroom dramas. I don't know why. I do too. They're so well done. I think it's just the perfect way to balance storytelling.
Yeah.
Literally.
Yeah.
Okay. US details. Go ahead.
Sorry. Everybody, well, not everybody, but I know a lot of people for some reason really didn't like Trial of the Chicago 7 2 years ago.
I still haven't watched it yet. Sacha Baron Cohen was in it, right?
Yeah, that was one of my favorites of the year. But then I would watch all these. I'm real big on the Oscars, you know that, and I have my big Oscars party every year, and I would watch some of these YouTubers and stuff doing their lists, and everybody seemed to be dissing Trial Chicago 7 and Aaron Sorkin for some reason.
Yeah.
Even though I love Sorkin, so I don't know what everybody's beef was with it.
Ghost Watch is getting a release on October 25th in the US from 101 Films and on Halloween in the UK from 101 Films. This is, I believe, only the second 101 Films release to be coming to the US, which is kind of cool. The first one was The Last Broadcast. This is a classic BBC tale from 1992 and looks like a pretty solid release. This is one that has never been on Blu-ray, I don't think, anywhere. So a lot of people are really getting excited about this. SJ recently watched 12 Angry Men for the first time. Such a great movie. I need to see the remake. I've not seen the remake that came out in the 90s. I really need to.
I didn't even know that happened.
Yeah, Kino put it out actually early this year.
I also saw you responded to the flickering. I actually agree with flickering. I would actually say, I guess my top 3 subgenres of horror is psychological, horror comedy, and then home invasion.
Nice.
So I really do like the whole horror comedy genre a lot as well.
The ones that hit hard in horror comedy, I adore, but I feel like there's again a wide spectrum on horror comedy.
There's definitely a wide spectrum.
They're either really great or just a complete waste of time.
But there's some real good ones. Cabin in the Woods, Final Girls, Tucker and Dale, just to name a few. Those are some of my favorites.
Next announcement is there's a sale going on Diabolic right now on Blue Underground titles. This sale is going through September 5th, and nothing below is anything that if you've paid attention during sales before, it's not going to be a surprise. The same sort of, he doesn't have them all in stock. He's got to order them from the warehouse. Can't answer questions about slipcovers. But I will say, if you are waiting to get some of the Blue Underground 4Ks, they have never been this cheap before. A lot of the older Blue Underground 4Ks are $23. And Blue Underground literally has the best 4K game for any of these boutiques. And to get one of these titles at $23 is astonishing.
Yeah. In 4K.
Yeah.
Next up, says it's fashionable to bash Sorkin.
It has been,
shows, which I love those 2 shows. Nobody does dialogue like Sorkin. Why do people gotta hate?
I agree. Sorkin has touched so much over the years. It's crazy.
Yeah. Okay, go on.
88 Films released finally. 88 Films is weird about announcements. They dropped 3 photos with all of the titles that they're releasing in September, October, and November just this week, and then said, and we're also going to announce our December titles on Friday. A lot of these leaked months ago because they've been on Amazon to buy in the UK for months. So I always wait for the press release, unfortunately, and here we are. We are about to go through a ton of 88 Films titles. If I don't specify that it's in the US, it is in the UK. So not most of these are not actually going to be in the US. This one is called A Candle for the Devil. It is a psycho-inspired thriller from Eugenio Martino, who is a Spanish director, and it is a gruesomely satisfying early 70s piece of exploitation. This gets a slip case, a picture booklet, and an audio commentary with Kim Newman, and an audio commentary with Troy Howarth and Nathaniel Thompson. And the 3 of them are 3 of the biggest names in commentaries. So if you are interested in films like this, this is an easy purchase. That commentary with Kim Newman also has Sean Hogan. I don't think I'm familiar with Sean Hogan, but really good stuff. Are you a Giallo guy? I don't think we've ever talked about Giallo.
I am. Clickbait has a lot of Giallo influences.
Yep.
Yeah, I like all of the Forgotten Giallo box sets that Vinegar Syndrome has put out, and yeah, I'm not as well versed as I think probably many people know more about and can rattle off a bunch of titles much better than me. But I appreciate the genre quite a bit.
That's the funny thing about Giallo, though, is it's difficult to rattle off any title because they're 14 words long, and they always have a color and an animal and a weapon.
Yeah, like a game of Clue.
That is perfect. Next up, we are getting Ebola Syndrome in the UK. We don't know all the extras for this, even though it is coming on October 24th. It's one of the more soon titles that they're releasing. They have said that this is uncut, which I'm kind of shocked by. I really thought the BBFC was still going to be limiting a couple of the scenes on this. Shocked. Absolutely shocked. Have you seen Ebola Syndrome?
I haven't watched it yet. Obviously, I got the Vinegar Syndrome release as a subscriber, but I haven't watched it yet.
It is a wonderful film. Sardis is moving to his living room to watch on the big screen.
Oh, don't do that. I look better on a small screen.
He needs the air conditioner. It's hot in Texas.
Oh, gosh. It's hot out
here. And when he's on the big screen, he won't be able to comment. So, Sardis, we'll look for you in the Discord after this. Next up, we are getting, finally, this is the first Slasher Classics release from 88 Films in seemingly months. We are getting Maniac. This is not coming in 4K. This is only coming in Blu-ray, which after Blue Underground did the 4K, it was kind of surprising to me that they didn't do this in 4K. This gets a limited edition slipcase booklet. It is the 4K restoration, at least, thankfully. And as far as I can tell, I believe everything on this is all the same features that are on the Blue Underground release. So primarily, if you're in the UK, this is the release to get. If you are in the US, you probably already have one of the other limited releases. And no reason to double dip unless you're going for all the Slasher Classics, which I understand because they look wonderful together.
It's a great cover, yeah.
It really is. And there's, oh no, there is no alternate art. I wonder, they're probably putting the classic poster on there because it's such an iconic view. Vigilante, another Blue Underground release in the States. This is coming November 14th from 88 Films. Again, it's going to get a slipcase and a booklet, but I believe everything other than this interview with the composer, Jay Chataway, is on the Blue Underground release. Vigilante, have you seen Vigilante?
Yeah, I love it. I have the Blue Underground one.
This is a wonderful film. Fred Williamson and Robert Forster, first of all, just iconic.
Yeah.
In pretty much everything they do. But in this specifically, they are magnetic in this movie.
Yeah.
Video Man, it says Nameless released the best Maniac release. It looks so damn good. Is that I think that's the one. It was a bust, and it's got all kinds of goodies with it. Nameless does some wild stuff over there. I think Video Man, is Nameless out of Germany? I think they are.
What's Nerd about to watch if he hasn't left already?
Nerd posted that tonight he is watching. I'm going to look in the Discord because he said this earlier. He asked what everybody was going to be drinking tonight, and he said he is watching Driver and Jackie Brown, both first-time watches.
Okay, Jackie Brown. Oh, it's your first time watching Jackie Brown.
Yeah, he just bought it today.
Wow. Enjoy, nerd.
Two really great films.
That sounds harsh, but I mean it genuinely. Enjoy it, nerd.
Coming on November 14th in the UK, this is Iceman Cometh from 1989. This is a Yuen Biao film, Maggie Chung from Golden Harvest, and we don't know the extras on this one yet for some reason. Wow. Video Man says, yes, I have all of the busts that Nameless have done except for the Perfect Weapon, and they did a Dead Snow bust?
Wow.
I love Dead Snow.
Yeah, that's a fun one.
Oh, I thought you were watching Driver, not Drive. I think you posted in the Discord that it was Driver as well.
Oh, Drive. They're doing that at New Bev next month.
Yes, like 3 nights in a row, right?
Yeah, that's gonna be a fun Ryan Gosling double feature. Drive and The Nice Guys.
Nice.
It'll be real fun.
Guys. Stupid. Ladies Who Do from 1963 is coming from 88 Films in the UK. I don't know anything about this film. It looks like an odd departure considering everything else they've announced. This is a vintage comedy. So, cool. Video Man says Nameless has released Halloween 2 with a bust now has been held back for 2 years because of the pandemic. Jeez.
Wow. Yeah, factories were shut down too.
That makes sense. I believe Nameless also did Texas Chainsaw Massacre. Something like that. What did you say about the factories? I didn't hear it.
But just the factories were shut down during the pandemic, so it makes sense that would be pushed back. I was laughing at Brian's comment, though.
Yep. Ladies Who Do is better than Ladies Who Don't. I would always agree with that. Nameless is German. He worked on Dead Snow 1 and 2 also. Amazing. Was prop breakdown on the first and second. I was prop master. I can never remember. This is going to sound so stupid. I've watched the first Dead Snow probably 10 or 11 times. I can never remember if I've watched the sequel. And I don't know. I just can't. I'm not keeping records since 1989, so I can't remember if I watched it.
Yeah, like some people.
Coming, this is the biggest one, obviously, right now for a lot of people. Coming on November 28th on 4K from 88 Films, only in the UK, but remember, 4K is region free. we are getting Cannibal Holocaust. Now, a lot of people see this and they immediately think they better be putting this out from Grindhouse Releasing on 4K as their first 4K title, which would make a lot of sense. No indication that they are yet. Cannibal Holocaust is beloved by a lot of people. Pretty much everybody has seen it at least once, or they're holding far away from it and they know why. Primarily because they like turtles. But I'm not sure. I think that they were saying that this one was going to be uncut in the UK. However, I don't know that it will be able to, because as far as I'm aware, it's still locked down by the BBFC and required to be cut. Not sure. Video Man, it says, you will remember the second if you remember the American Zombie Squad in the film. Tommy, the director, went full Americanized. Wasn't in the sequel, wasn't one of the guys from Freaks, was Martin Starr in it or something?
And Dead Snow 2?
Yeah. Have you seen both of them?
I haven't. I don't think I've seen both of them.
Huh.
But I like Martin Starr.
Dead Sea Life wants to know if this has the cruelty-free cut. They have not announced any extras, but I do believe they will.
Did you see Flickering Waves? That is you and I talked about this. It's a killer schedule.
It is a great schedule.
But I missed out on the Pearl X double feature.
Dude, it sold out like immediately, right?
Yeah, 2 seconds. I was so angry. I really wanted
Crazy.
to go. But I am going to once again, as always, the horror marathon that they're doing on Labor Day.
So we're going to talk about some of those marathons afterwards.
Okay.
For anybody that is curious, after we do all the announcements and what's coming next week, at the end of this, we're going to have just some shoot the shit time tonight. There are some random marathons that Jeremy has gone to at the New Bev that we're just going to hang out and talk about some of these screenings. I went to a double feature with them at the New Bev. I've got some screenings coming up. This is again one of those beautiful times.
Yeah, you want to talk about that?
Yeah, there's a few. I bought tickets for it, so I am going.
Nice.
And then I've got one this weekend, and I'm going to a movie tomorrow too. So amazingly, there's a lot going on right now, which I don't get that opportunity very much. So I'm stoked.
Yeah.
Gorgeous is coming from 88 Films in the US only, not the UK, as far as I can tell. This is from 1999 Jackie Chan film, so it's a later Chan film. Romantic girl. This is such a weird synopsis. A romantic girl travels to Hong Kong in search of certain love, but instead meets a kind-hearted professional fighter for whom she begins to fall instead.
Such a shame.
Video Man, it says Martin Starr is in the film. Okay. A German tank that we brought up on a boat from Denmark to Iceland. Jesus Christ. First one cost $1 million and the second cost $6 million. Jeez. Yeah. That's awesome.
Half of that was Martin Starr's budget.
Okay. Thank you so much, Hilton. Hilton points out it is literally illegal to release media containing animal cruelty in the UK. So this is what I don't get. If they are advertising Cannibal Holocaust and Ebola Syndrome as uncut, for spoilers, I know you haven't seen it. This isn't really a spoiler necessarily. The very first thing you see in Ebola Syndrome is machete cutting through frogs.
Wow.
I
heard about that, even though I haven't watched it yet.
I don't get it. Like, how can you claim that it's going to be uncut? Anyways, I'm just curious to see how that shakes out. And the thing that makes it more curious, the BBFC has been lightening up on things. What title was it? I feel like it was the Toolbox Murders or something else, was on the restricted list for the longest time, and now it's coming out as unrestricted. So I'm not real sure.
Video Man has some input.
The animal cruelty in the film is kind of weird. If you film reindeer slaughter in Norway, you will think we are crazy. If you film killing of bulls in the States, it would be looked at as animal cruelty in Norway. The entire animal cruelty thing is weird on these old titles. The hard part is nobody... I could see how it could be argued either way. I was going to say something, but I mean, we don't necessarily know if things were eaten or not. the frogs from the beginning of Ebola syndrome, it was for a restaurant, and they were eaten, I believe. So I get that aspect, but that's also not the only scene
So that
in Ebola syndrome.
So it can't be labeled as animal cruelty if it's for food
Potentially, yes.
consumption.
And it's not like they were torturing them. I don't know. This is a weird discussion. I don't know. I don't know how they classify that.
Torturing the frogs.
let's debate animal torture on Disconnected.
And what qualifies versus which country versus.
Let's talk about how close to the line of animal torture we can take this. Coming on December 13th from 88 Films in the U.S., Magnificent Warriors, also from 1999. This is a big deal because it stars Michelle Yeoh, who has thankfully been getting a lot more recognition again because of Everything Everywhere All at Once, even though she's always been amazing. She's also in, I think she's in one or two of the Police Story films. Can't remember if it's just one or not. Have you seen any of the Police Story films? You know what I'm talking about? You are off camera. Never mind. I was on the other page. So this one, Magnificent Warriors, is a high-flying action romp. International sensation Michelle Yeoh stars in this incredible adventure set against the backdrop of World War II. Yeoh portrays a wisecracking mercenary pilot with a leather jacket, gun, and bullwhip who sets aside personal greed to defend a small town and free its leader from the clutches of the invading Japanese army. Let's see. Yeoh's martial arts prowess, comedic flair, and dramatic skills are fully brought to bear in this incredible follow-up to the classic Royal Warriors. The finale, in which the town, armed only with spears and stones, rises up against the heavily fortified Japanese forces, is not to be missed. Aerial battles, gunfights, hand-to-hand combat, Michelle Yeoh, Magnificent Warriors has it all. This is a new 2K scan from the OCN. It's got an audio commentary with friend of the channel, Frank Jang, and an interview with Michelle Yeoh, and then another interview on there. Let's see. More on the animal cruelty thing. Video Manon says, Diodato has said they filmed animals that were going to be eaten. This is how they killed animals there. I met him at 2 festivals, and I believe him. Interesting. That's exactly why I stopped saying that, because I figured that they could possibly say that they were going to be getting eaten. We need more Michelle Yeoh. Welcome back.
I'm back. I heard you. I had to use the restroom, but I could still hear you. And you were like, "Oh, you are off camera." So you must not have heard me say I had to go to the bathroom quick.
Nope, I must have spoken over you. Sorry.
I have seen Police Story 1 and 2, and as you already know, I love Michelle Yeoh, and I'm obsessed with Everything Everywhere.
Do you remember how many she's in? I know she's in Police Story or Super Cop, Police Story 3.
Oh, good question.
I don't remember if she's in more than one, and nobody answered in the chat yet. But I feel like she's also in the 4th one, maybe?
I'll just look it up while you continue.
Cool. This next one is a very big deal to a lot of people. Coming on October 11th, we finally have the official announcement for this. I've been wanting to talk about this for a couple months when it leaked. We get the Universal Classic Monsters Icons of Horror collection. And the original Universal Monsters got their 4K last year. This is the second collection that is going to have some of the more sought-after titles, actually. This one includes, of course, The Mummy from 32, Bride of Frankenstein. Either that or the Creature from the Black Lagoon are the most wanted ones in this. But Bride of Frankenstein is 35, Phantom of the Opera is 43, and then Creature from the Black Lagoon is 54. They are getting pretty decent features on these. We got some commentaries. We got Restoring the Classics, a little feature on that. There is, I believe, commentaries on every single release here. Yeah. The Mummy specifically has a lot of stuff on it. How do you feel about the old Universal Monsters?
Sadly, not as into them as many people are. I appreciate their place in the horror genre history, but I've never been a huge fan of some of those old classics.
I get it. Completely get it.
To answer your earlier question, Michelle Yeoh was in Super Cop 1 and 2, so 3 and 4.
Oh, geez. I'm not triple dipping. They look awesome, but I'm good with the 30 movie Blu-ray set. Completely understandable. I think this is primarily for the giant fans of this genre. They're obviously going to look spectacular. The blacks in this are going to be super deep. I can't imagine the difference that this could make. I know that the first one looked pretty damn good, and I'm assuming that the elements for these were preserved around the same level of properly. So we'll see. Just like I just said, Terry says, just for Creature and Bride, I want to pick this up, but this fall is so stacked. I think so stacked is kind of underselling this fall. We are getting too much this year. Video Man worked with Michelle Yeoh on a movie called Far North. They shot in a town that I can't say in 2006. Same director who did Amy and the Sienna documentary. She is cool. Very nice.
What'd you do on that film, Video Man?
This Video Man does all kinds of stuff.
Apparently.
Another very timely thing to talk about. 2 titles are going to be available for pre-order from Cauldron Films tomorrow at noon Eastern. This will be at 11 Central or at 9 Pacific. These are going to be Italian films from the 1970s that feature plenty of action and mayhem. They are restocking the Cauldron Films t-shirt and a small quantity of some highly sought-after items. The slipcase versions of American Rickshaw, The Crimes of the Black Cat, and Beyond Terror that have all been out of print with their slipcase pretty much since release. And for this to come out, that is going to make people come for a pretty mad dash on these titles.
I will be one of them.
Griff wants to know how far out the pre-order is for these. I believe when I mentioned with Jesse last time, I believe he was saying it was not going to be as wide of a window as Contraband, and it was certainly going to be coming long before the end of the year. Video Man worked as a fluffer. He said he was a prop assistant. My second big job in my life. Awesome.
Awesome.
And
I'd like to be a fluffer.
Oh man, I tried to move in with you, but you wouldn't do it. The Razor's Edge from 1984, starring Bill Murray, is coming direct from Sony Pictures. This is on October 18th. This did not get a great reaction when this came out, primarily because people were not ready for a Bill Murray fronted drama where he wasn't Ghostbusters Bill Murray or Caddyshack Bill Murray. And it is, I don't remember liking it that much, but supposedly it's got some really big fans. Next one. What is this? American Movie. This is a big one. This is coming
that guy looks familiar.
Little skinny and a little strung out. October 18th, we are finally getting American Movie. This is like one of the longest sought after Blu-rays for just ages. This is from 1999, cult favorite documentary with Mark Borchardt, an aspiring filmmaker from a working class Wisconsin background, is set on finishing his low budget horror movie despite a barrage of difficulties. Plagued by lack of cash, unreliable help, and numerous personal problems, Mark wants to complete the film to raise funds for a more ambitious drama. With the assistance of his bumbling but loyal friend Mike Schenk, Mark struggled to move forward, making for plenty of bittersweet moments. An American Movie is amazing. Just amazing.
Yeah.
I am so stoked that this is finally coming out. This is one that people have been asking for in like Sony polls for years. Best Buy has done a lot of polls for Sony to find out what people want in Steelbooks or on 4K or just on Blu-ray. And this is one that I've seen literal people sharing the link to the poll saying, please write in American Movie, because this has such a fan base.
Wow.
This does not star Jeremy Long, but for anybody that is interested in film itself, this is pretty much a must-own.
It's a great movie. I haven't seen it in a very long time, but it's great. One of my favorites, too.
I could just keep going on American Movie for a while. Don't need to show that one. It wasn't anything bad. It was just a reel that I posted to get people more interested in the
You're
Air
cut out of.
4. Well, only the first half.
Oh, okay.
I don't know. There's no fast forward on Instagram, but the second half does show me because of my question there. Fractured Visions. This is the second one that I talked about. They announced today that they are in 2023 going to be releasing Dawn Breaks Behind the Eyes from 2021. I know that you've been keeping up very much with modern film. Have you seen this one?
I haven't, which I'm embarrassed to say because the two so far that you've asked me about that have been recent releases from 2021, which was this and The Innocents, I haven't seen either of them yet.
Yeah. This is interesting sounding. Not a lot of information out there, but they say a couple spend eternity in a castle until their reality starts to shift as the unknown moves into their lives. And that is the entire synopsis. Arrow's Fright Fest in the UK started today, and they said that this will be playing. They are going to be releasing this love letter to European cult cinema because it is essential viewing for genre fans. We look forward to bringing it to the big screen in December before we roll out an extras-packed limited edition in the new year. Video Man says Dawn Breaks Behind the Eyes is with Friedrich Wolf in the lead. His first acting job was in my film House. That's awesome.
Wow, that's great.
How are you so involved with everything tonight, Video Man? And that's amazing.
Yeah, everything somehow is tied together through Video Man's career. So what they're saying, they're going to release it and then release.
They're releasing it in theaters in December,
Okay.
And then they will be releasing the Blu-ray early next year.
Gotcha.
And again, like I said, Fractured Visions, they do great work. I talked about the Scary of 61st. Is that the number? I think it is. They did the Martino flick. That was their first title that they put out. They put out a handful of limited edition titles, and they're all just really great. They just did, I think, 29 Palms was their last title. And we are getting close to the end of the announcements, I think.
2.5 hours in. Keep interrupting.
And this one is kind of a big deal for a lot of fans of the 80s. Coming on Halloween in the UK in 4K from Studio Canal, we are getting Highlander. This is from 1986. If you have never seen Highlander, it is a Christopher Lambert and Sean Connery cult classic. Looking at this release, we are getting brand new artwork from celebrated artist Matt Ferguson, a 64-page booklet, a prequel comic called Way of the Sword, a set of badges, art cards, and posters. But this is going to be a really terrible joke about the film. They said there can not only be one release. That was stupid. They are releasing a Zavvi exclusive 4K Steelbook, and genuinely, the artwork on this is pretty damn good.
Yeah.
And then here is the inside of the steel.
Wow.
Gets a little wild there. Looks great. The features on this too, we are getting something called the Immortal Attraction of Highlander. It will be looking back at 4 decades of Highlander magic in a brand new and exclusive 56, I believe that's supposed to say 56-minute documentary featuring new interviews with the director, cast, and other key crew members.
Wow, that's cool.
Then a Kind of Magic, Music of the Immortals, a featurette on the soundtrack, an interview with the photographer David James, and then Clancy Brown remembers Highlander, plus a brand new audio commentary with the author John Melville.
I wish they would have written in Mr. Krabs remembers Highlander, just to see if people knew.
Wow, yeah, that would have been perfect. They also have 2 legacy archival commentaries on here, which is great. The Studio Canal releases that they're doing over there are always good. What's odd is they don't do the best compression on their releases. So sometimes they are a little less than they could be. Like the Scream Factory titles that they have taken the restorations from Studio Canal, they actually look better on the Scream Factory discs. So I do hope that this gets a US release, and it probably will eventually, because this is a giant title.
I like all the stuff that they threw in there, like the comic prequel and everything. That's really cool.
So I was going to shout that out right now and say, if you are really wanting this one, this will likely be available through Orbit DVD in the States. So if you want the comic, if you want the book, which again, these releases are incredible from Studio Canal, this is going to be a wonderful release, period. Video Man says, the inside of the steel is the original poster art from Germany, and the front is the original VHS cover. Nice.
Wow.
Very nice. Let's see. Thor Love and Thunder, since you and I have talked a lot about Marvel on this channel before.
Yeah.
Coming on September 27th, this is the Best Buy exclusive Steelbook. They've got a few things that are going to be on the disc. We got some deleted scenes, a handful of featurettes. We also have, I believe it's in here, a feature-length commentary with Taika.
That'll be good. We talked about how we.
Oh, there it is. Yep. There's an audio commentary, the full film audio commentary with Taika Waititi. Sorry, I just want to make sure that was in there. I wasn't saying the wrong thing.
Oh yeah, no worries.
Thor: Love and Thunder, very divisive, seemingly for a lot of people.
Yeah, a little too much comedy for my taste.
Video Man says, "Have you seen Thor: Poop of Thunder?"
No, but I'd like to.
Now I would, yeah.
Brian said excellent about what? Thor?
Could be.
Yeah.
Oh, or maybe it's just because you're here, because I believe that's him saying hello.
Hi, Brian. Because I'm here? Excellent? Really? By the way, real quick side note, since we happen to touch on a Marvel title, have you been watching She-Hulk?
I have not. I'm very behind. I've literally only seen one of the Marvel series.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So, for some reason, none of them have really been that enticing. The only reason I watched WandaVision is I was told I have to watch it before watching Doctor Strange. The Multiverse of Madness.
Yeah, I guess that makes sense. Plus, it was very, very good. WandaVision is certainly the best one out of any of their shows so far.
Yeah. I mean, I certainly want to see them. And it's not like they're long. I need to.
Some are better than others. She-Hulk's okay so far, but not great.
All right. This is an interesting one. So Kino on November 22nd is releasing the Blood Beast Terror starring Peter Cushing. And the way that they included this, like, I would have just kind of quietly said HD restoration. This is a 2K restoration from a decade ago. I am shocked that they're advertising that. This gets a brand new audio commentary with Kim Newman, we talked about him earlier, and Stephen Jones. The trailer's on there, and we get reversible art. Here's the alternate art, which classic, lovely. This is a classically told monster movie directed by Vernon Sewell. The Blood Beast Terror is set in motion when mutilated bodies begin appearing in the English countryside, drained of blood. And all you got to know is Peter Cushing plays a detective, and you probably want to see it. Peter Cushing is one of the greatest, and yeah, he's always great.
Can't go wrong with some Peter Cushing.
But then Hilton says, why is Christopher Lee as Dracula on the cover of Blood Beast Terror? Because it looks just like Christopher Lee as Dracula.
You're right.
Guys, that was the last announcement.
Oh, we made it through. Only 2.5 hours
later. 2.5 hours in, and we started the announcements 20 minutes in. I mean, there was so much more than I was ready for this week.
You're right.
It just exploded.
I appreciate Kino's honesty.
Yes, I mean, I do as well. And that's what's shocking to me is I honestly expected them to be less transparent about it. Before we go into the fun stuff, let's go real quick through what is coming out next week. Next week, go ahead.
You said the not fun stuff. What's coming out next
before
week?
We go into the fun stuff.
Yeah.
Okay.
No, I was saying, never mind. You said, okay. You said before we go into the fun stuff, let's do this. And I said, oh, good, the not fun stuff.
Oh, I thought you were saying that I was implying you and I are not fun.
No, meaning this stuff isn't fun.
No, it's not. And what's funny is a lot of this is actually not, because a lot of you watching this, you've got some of these already because these are the retail release dates. So next Tuesday is the... What the hell? The last Tuesday, the last release day of August, which means we are fully into the big tide change. If you pay attention to physical media, starting in September, they are very horror and like box set heavy from September through November. And it is about to get wild out there. So many catalog titles. We are seeing leaks today coming through the other announcement social media that everybody follows for all kinds of 4K Christmas titles that are about to be actually announced rather than leaked. And it's about to pop off. So really, really wild time right now for these. Next week, let's see, Cat People in 4K from Scream Factory. Did you ever watch Cat People? Have you seen it? I'm sure you have.
Yeah.
So it's one of the Schrader's greats. Love it. So well done. Just it seems to not be appreciated that much.
No, definitely not. You don't hear a lot about it.
The Arrow Giallo Essentials Black Box is getting their release. The release of Belle in 4K is coming out. I think that's a Shout title, if I remember right.
It is.
The other Lionsgate title coming out next week is Warrior in 4K. Pretty good looking steel. I like those.
Not my favorite movie.
Yeah, I get that. Running out of time, the collection from Arrow is about to drop. Sex and Lucia is next week.
That's already out, though.
Which one?
Sex and Lucia.
This this is the retail release, so it's available at Target and Walmart and Amazon and all that.
Copy.
So other places have had it in stock already.
Okay.
We got a Coen film, Symphony for a Massacre, Kino's Mysterious Island of Beautiful Women, which is a TV film. Some Criterion stuff. Next week is not huge, but it is over already, just like that. So now we can get to the fun stuff. So first, why don't we talk about Barbarian?
Oof. So I saw an advance. I hope that most of the people watching are aware of Barbarian. It's coming out on the 9th of September. I went to an advanced screening, thanks to Beyond Fest. When was that? Just this past week, I believe. Not the current week we're in. I think it might have been Tuesday of last week. Man, I'm excited for this film to come out and see what people think of it, because I loved it. I think it's this year's Malignant, in terms of it being just this crazy bonkers off the wall thing that you're not expecting whatsoever.
Interesting.
Yeah, it's super duper fun. Great mixture of horror and comedy, especially Justin Long's character. And yeah, I really loved it. And what I didn't know going in, surprisingly, because I do like to do some research on some movies before I go see them, which I clearly didn't do when I went to go see a certain movie at the New Beverly that Ryan recommended. But I did not know that Zach Crager wrote and directed Barbarian, former Whitest Kids You Know.
Nice.
With the gang, so I got to tell him that he was there doing a Q&A with the star of the film as well, and so I got to talk to him afterwards.
Awesome.
I knew, tell him I was friends with Trevor, and we reminisced a bit and everything, and tell him how much I love the new film. It's a great director. I mean, he did Miss March, but that's essentially a Whitest Kids You Know feature film. So if you're not kind of counting that, it's an amazing directorial debut from him.
Well, and it was kind of a group effort on that, right? This is his like solo debut.
I mean, technically, there's probably a group effort in writing Miss March, but he's credited as the sole director for Miss March. But
yeah, I knew that he did a lot of it. I didn't know if it was the whole thing. So, I mean, you got into an advanced screening. I don't think we've ever talked about like what is your experience with some of these screenings? How do you get into these screenings, and what are they like? Because a lot of these people, including myself, will probably never be in any of these screenings like this.
Well, it depends on who it's coming from. So there's quite a few different sources. Beyond Fest is open to the public. I mean, even theoretically, theoretically, anybody in this chat could come to one of those, but they would have to fly out here, right?
Right.
Beyond Fest is partnered with American Cinematheque out here in Los Angeles, and American Cinematheque owns technically 3 theaters. One still being refurbished, which is the Egyptian, the world famous Egyptian theater on good old Hollywood Boulevard, where Ryan almost got stabbed by a homeless man. And they also own the 2 functioning ones right now, one of which they only recently acquired, is the one that they've had for forever is the Aero Theater in Santa Monica here in Los Angeles. Yep. And then one that they just recently acquired is the small theater in Los Feliz. Los Feliz 3. And so that's where they house their Beyond Fest. Actually, I guess technically they also did a few screenings at the Hollywood Legion Theater too. Last year. That's where the Halloween Kills premiere was last year for Beyond Fest. As well as Antlers. But so those are open to the public. It's kind of but it's a first come first serve thing. So it's it's in very high demand. In fact, I remember last year, I was surprised I got the tickets to some of the ones that I did get tickets to, because much like earlier when we were talking about the New Bev and Pearl X double feature going and like that, same thing with Beyond Fest, especially the bigger titles like Halloween Kills premiere last year, and there was some other really big Black Phone. Went so fast, and I got tickets to really all the ones I really wanted to go to the most last year, and I was shocked because but I was ready at my computer, but it crashed several times. The site crashed several times, and both American Cinematheque and Beyond Fest had to go on there and say, all right, hang on, we're trying to get it back up, and then an hour later after refreshing a billion times. But so it's in high demand, but that despite having to be quick, it is open to the public. So, including technically Beyond Fest hasn't even started yet. They'll announce their full lineup in September, I hear. So some of these ones they're just doing are just like little sprinkles. It's not part of the actual festival. It's just like they did an advanced screening of Bullet Train as well, about a week before that came out, that I went to as well, sponsored by Beyond Fest. So it's not technically the actual Beyond Fest, but they sprinkle some other advanced screenings throughout the year.
Right.
And then, so got off on a huge tangent based on your question. That's just one of the advanced screenings I've been to. Right. One of the ways of going to advanced screenings. The other, and probably quite honestly, more frequent way is being part of the PGA. I'm an avid golfer, and no, as previously mentioned, I'm part of the Producers Guild of America. So there's several perks to being a part. Most well known is you get all the screeners for the award seasons, and you get to vote and things like that, and that's a lot of fun. Right. As somebody in the industry, if that's anything that anybody in this group is interested in, there's all kinds of mixers and meet and greets and things like that you get invited to meet fellow people, not necessarily celebrities, just other people working in the industry and getting advice and networking and so on and so forth. All kinds of perks, but yeah, you get invited to tons of events. I mean, I get multiple emails a day from the PGA, and it's anything from, it's TV shows and movies. I didn't get to because I had to work late, but I almost went to the premiere of the final chapter of that show C with Jason Mccullough on Tuesday. And so there was a Severance event not too long ago. So it's TV shows and movies. And
did you go to that Jeff Bridges one that was happening when I was there?
I wanted to so bad, but I didn't go. Yeah, with the old man.
Yeah, I couldn't remember the title.
Him and John Lithgow. I love both.
Yep.
And the other one I really wanted to go to so bad, but I couldn't because I either had something on the same day or I was working late. But that other new show on Prime with Josh Brolin, Outer Range.
Oh, it's a Western or something,
Outer
right?
Range, isn't that what it's called?
I think so.
I was devastated because Poots is in that, and I'm obsessed with Imogen Poots.
Yep.
Love her. So I was really bummed about that. Anyways, but yeah, I get multiple emails a day, and that it's such a beautiful thing, because as long once again, it is technically a first come first serve thing,
right.
Because those will fill up very fast, just like the Beyond Fest screenings do, and there's only so much room at these things. But as long as you see it early enough, which most of the day I'm on my computer anyways, working or doing other things, so I usually do see them fairly quickly. It's a simple RSVP email, and boom, you're in, because you're in the PPA. And sometimes it's just advanced screenings. Sometimes it's not even advanced screenings. They also, of course, do like for your consideration screenings too, for things that they'd like to get nominated, or things that have already been nominated if it's after the nominations have been announced. Usually with the Q&A, sometimes not, honestly. There was just recently, there was a Cha-Cha Real Smooth, one of my favorite movies of this year, screening at the London Hotel, which, by the way, that's one of my favorite ones to go to, because whenever they have one, whenever I see that one's happening there, I get excited, because it's this really intimate space. It's a small little screening room inside this hotel on the main floor. Probably no more than about 100 seats tops. But anyways, that one had no Q&A, and the movie's already out. It's been out for a couple months. It was just it's free. So if you hadn't seen it yet, or you don't have whatever platform that was on, you can just go see it if you're in the PGA. So it's cool stuff like that. So sometimes it's not even advanced screening, sometimes it's not even a Q&A, but more often than not, it's one of those two, either an advanced screening or a screening with a Q&A, or both. And sometimes, what's this?
Flickering Wave says the Florida Film Festival happens in the spring in Orlando. I saw 500 Days of Summer 3 months before it ran theatrically. They have done surprise screenings such as The Greasy Strangler.
Oh, I love The Greasy Strangler, and I love 500 Days. That's one of my favorite comfort movies.
Before we go into surprise screenings and stuff that we're about to see, who are some people that you've had the wonderful fortune of meeting some of these, like genuinely like taking a picture with in some of these screenings?
Oh, gee.
There's a lot.
Yeah, that's a lot. That's a long question.
Let's go the ones that meant the most to you.
Well, imagine seeing Greasy Strangler unprepared.
It's such a great comment. Like you've got a picture with Christopher Nolan, for example.
But that wasn't at a screening. That's the thing. So, like,
yes.
Are you asking people that I've just met in my career?
Let's say screening specifically.
Screening specifically, because Christopher Nolan I just ran into at ArcLight Hollywood one day, which was a delight. So again, I'd have to think about that a lot. But the first thing that comes to mind, just because it was probably one of the more recent ones, was I went to and see. Well, anyway, it doesn't matter. I was gonna say, oh, this isn't even a PGA screening or an advanced screening or anything like that. But I went to a midnight screening of Speed Racer at New Bev.
Nice.
And Emil Hirsch popped in and did a little intro, and then hung out and watched the movie. And I talked to him after, and that was so cool, because I just love him so much, and I love Into the Wild so much that I have this tattoo on my arm I love the book and the movie. So he may not be like one of my favorite actors ever, although I do really like him a lot. But to be able to like have had this tattoo for like a decade and show him that as the star of that movie was a really cool experience. And so now I'm thinking of, because obviously I've met a lot of people that have really inspired me, but if we're talking about just screenings, I'd have to. I'm gonna have to think about it as we continue talking. But another one that just popped into my head was when I was able to go to an advanced screening of Gunpowder Milkshake before that came out last year,
Nice.
and I got to meet Karen Gillan, who I also adore very much, almost as much as Poots. Recently, even more recently, and once again, this is also not a PGA screening or anything like that. This was just an event that was also once again open to the public at New Beverly. But last Monday, they did a premiere screening of the new Michael Madsen documentary called American Badass, a Michael Madsen retrospective, and they announced that he would be there doing a Q&A as well as special guests. Well, it turns out the special guest was just the director of the documentary. I thought
maybe Michael Madsen isn't the special guest.
Well, it's Michael Madsen and special guest.
That's what I'm saying. He should have been the special guest. They should have been advertising the director's here for a Q&A about the film with a special guest. Oh, it's the star of the film. Yay.
The special guest is the director this is his first film.
Right.
And no one's ever heard of him. It was a fun movie as a Michael Madsen fan with like a lot of great stories in it, but not really a great documentary structure-wise as from a filmmaking standpoint. But fun story that I wanted to share because I wanted to try and introduce a new Bev story into the mix for the disconnected crowd. So that
I finally get the new Bev story we've been hyping up for 2 weeks?
Yeah.
Just wait till I'm on the show. Okay, let's do it.
Because I want this to hopefully take the place of the.
I hope not.
Why did I forget the name of it all of a sudden? What's it called?
Equation to an Unknown.
Yeah, Equation to an Unknown. I wanted to hopefully put that one in the past. But anyways, so well, Ryan knows because he's been to the New Beverly with me when he was out here visiting for the first time, right?
First time I ever been there.
I'm not sure if anybody else in the chat lives in Los Angeles or has ever been to the New Beverly. Great theater, amazing theater. I mean, it's a gorgeous theater, small and rather small seats, as Ryan pointed out earlier, but the programming is amazing. There's nothing else like it. Everything's on 35 millimeter. They show some great stuff and oftentimes bring in special guests. And so there's a row in the very back row, which Ryan and I sat in for our John Waters double feature we went to, which was a lot of fun, is reserved seats, the whole row. Now they let me sit there because I'm there all the time. I basically have a cot in like the back in the storage room. I'm there at least once a week, probably more, usually multiple times a week. Ryan knows. And I know everybody that works there, and I walk in and I'm like, the usual at the concession stand, and they know that that's a large Coke, a hot dog, and an ice cream sandwich. So it started a long time ago, but I now am able to just kind of, and it's beneficial to me to be able to sit in that reserved row as a valued customer, I guess, because I'm often coming in a little late because I'm always coming straight from work, and their movies start at 7:30, and I'm done at 7. And Quiet Rob loves the New Bev, who's not the Rob you thought he was earlier. So it's convenient for me to not disturb anybody when I'm getting there a little late. Usually the previews are on, or in rare instances the movie has already started, and then I don't have to like find my way to an empty seat in the dark. I can just slip right in and I always sit right on the aisle seat in the back row there in the reserve section. So I go Monday for the Michael Madsen documentary, and I am running a little late as usual. I get there, I go in. It's very dark. You've been there, Ryan. Mm-hmm. When the house lights are down, it's very dark. It takes a moment for your eyes to adjust. And I saw someone was sitting in my usual aisle seat in the back row, but the seat next to them was open. So I thought, I'll just take that seat. I don't want to be wandering around. So I lean down and I say, "Excuse me." And all of a sudden, holy shit! I startled this person they literally were so startled. I thought they heard me like leaning down next to them. And they're like, "What do you want?" Well, it turns out it was Michael Madsen.
Yeah, I figured from the voice.
Sitting in my seat. Yeah, you know the voice. And so as soon as my eyes adjust and I realize that it's Michael Madsen, who I just nearly gave a heart attack on the night of his premiere of his documentary about his career and life, I said, oh, and I was so embarrassed. I was like, he's like, what do you want? And I was like, he's very nice, despite, I think he was just, like I said, he was just startled.
Right.
I talked to him afterwards and he's very nice. But in this moment, he was just like, what do you want? And I was like, I was just gonna see if the scene the scene next to you, and he's like, for my wife, and I was like, of course it is, of course that makes sense. Scene next to you for your wife. You know what? I'm just gonna go jump off a bridge. I don't need to be here and see this movie anymore. I'm just gonna go. And so that's the news story.
That is amazing.
I talked to him after the Q&A. Then he stuck around and was talking to some people. And hey, I could reach out to Francesca if you want Francesca on here, but I'll be back whenever you want me to. Thanks.
I mean, I'd be thrilled to have Francesca.
Thanks, Video Man, for saying that. I'm glad somebody appreciates my mindless rambles.
I just noticed your fucking name. Did you just change the name?
No,
how long have I been staring at Ebola spaghetti? And that's
an Italian restaurant I'm going to open. Ebola spaghetti.
Wow.
It's easier for me to change it when it's you, me, and Flip, because he'll usually go off on tangents and I can just go in there and change it secretly. So anyways, then after the screening, and when he stuck around for the Q&A, or after the Q&A, he stuck around and was talking to people, and I was just like, the best story ever, scaring the one and only Mr. Blonde. I know, Mr. Blonde, Bud. And I'm so happy that the headlines the next morning didn't read, eager fan gave Michael Madsen heart attack on the premiere of his.
It would never say eager. It would say public porn fan kills Michael Madsen at premiere.
Public porn fan known for coming to New Bev screenings, specifically when they're showing gay porn.
And coming spelled a very specific way.
Of course. No, afterwards, though, I said, I went up and talked to him, and I told him whatever. But I said, oh, and by the way, sorry about earlier. I didn't mean to startle you. Oh, that was you son of a bitch. Yeah, and so that was really fun. And then, but also, this part, I was debating whether or not to say this part, but I think it's kind of funny and adds a little bit of comedy to it. Brian knows from being here that I have OCD. I'm so super clean. Everything's in my apartment's very clean and organized all the time. And so this particular day of the Michael Madsen screening, I was cleaning my apartment because I went to do it over the weekend and didn't have time to. So this was on a Monday. So I was cleaning the apartment, and there's a certain point in my cleaning where I know, hey, I should stop or I'm not going to make it to this screening. I need to stop now because I need to get a shower and drive to West Hollywood. But for some reason, the other part of my brain, the OCD part, is like, no, you got to finish cleaning. You got to get this done.
I love how the other part of your brain has the same Michael Madsen voice.
It's Michael Madsen. Half of my
brain, hey, you son of a bitch, you got to clean.
And the other half of my brain is Jeremy Long. And so, so I just kept going like an idiot. I'm like, I gotta stop now, but I didn't. I'm like, oh, you don't want to come home and have cleaning left to do at like 11 p.m. So I finish, and then I'm like, well, now I have no time to shower. It's not. I won't make it in time. So I just kind of do the fucking hobo cleaning in the sink, a hobo bath, and swish a little Listerine, and I'm out the door. So not only am I scaring Michael Madsen to death in the dark theater in the back row that's reserved, but he's also probably like, who's this homeless man who wandered into the New Bev and is trying to sit next to me in my wife's seat?
Wow, that is amazing.
So that's the story.
I love that. I really hope it does not replace the Equation to an Unknown story, but it's still a great one. Want to answer this question before we go into what we are watching in screening soon, or maybe what you've watched very, very recently. Video Man wants to know, why don't I also include Nameless, however you pronounce that second word there, Pulp, and some of the European announcements? and then you also mentioned Film Arena and Nova Media on some of these. The main reason I don't include all of them is because of two very important reasons. One, they are incredibly difficult to get internationally. So I try to make all the ones I talk about ones that anybody in the world can get fairly easily. And then the other reason is, unfortunately, a lot of the German, the fancier labels, like I think it's Tetro is a German label. Some of them have been known to release bootlegs. And because I don't know how to cull the legality between all of those releases, I don't love to promote them like that. Myself, I try to find the good releases that I want, but they're already difficult to purchase anyways. And I would love to. Perhaps this is a good idea to try to find a way to do like a monthly roundup of the premium or very niche releases to talk about with everybody of what got announced, and just save those for a very specific video once a month. I would certainly be amenable to that. And then he also asked, do I know if Artsploitation has quit with distribution? The last I had heard was they still had something coming at least, but the pandemic hit everybody differently, and Artsploitation is so small that I imagine that it took them a lot more to recover than some of these other labels. Even with Kino's distribution in place, it's still not easy to recover when you're only putting out a couple of titles. Yeah. Let's see. Go ahead.
What video?
Oh, he says Nameless is 100% safe. They're the most safe company out there in my book. They have messed up with Faces of Death, but they pulled it back. Huh.
Okay.
Got yours for free with the bus and everything. Jesus, give me something for free. That's incredible. Those releases are so hard to get. Yeah, so I love those style of releases. The biggest thing is I don't really want to hype up the announcement, and then if 400 people watch the stream and 100 of them want it, and it's so difficult to get these, usually through group buys, that maybe 2 can get it, and I don't want to piss off the other 98 because it's just so hard to get these releases. But yeah, it's an idea. At least perhaps try to make it so the people that are really interested in those super fancy releases, maybe they can get their own video once a month. I am curious though. You list what was the question? You list some of the Europe announcements. If there's other labels that I'm missing from the UK or somewhere else where you know that they're good releases, like France, I do some of the Le Check Fume releases sometimes, the Smoking Cat. But the hard part is most of their releases are not English friendly. And this is primarily an English friendly channel. And I don't really want to promote it if the people watching it, they don't get subs, they don't get audio for it. Anyways, lots of minutia behind the scenes. I promise I'm making a reasonable decision on not including some of those. But screenings, I've got some cool things coming up. I've got this coming Saturday. I get to go a local repertory theater here. They show new stuff too, but they're really big for some of their older screenings. It is the 5th annual John Carpenter Fest here.
Yeah.
And I am signed up to go see Escape from New York, Escape from LA, which stoked I get to see Escape from LA on the big screen because it is not great. And I'm hoping that watching it on the big screen, a lot of times that'll change your respect for a film. So maybe it's great with the group of Carpenter fans. But we're closing out the night with They Live.
That's gonna be a blast.
Yeah,
for sure.
What about you? You've got a bunch of stuff bought for New Bedford.
Wait, you have another one you're going to, right?
I was gonna go after that, but yeah, my big one. I just got a couple tickets for October 1st at that same theater, starting at 10 in the morning. And this is, I don't know about you, this is the longest marathon I will have ever gone to for anything like this. Starting at 10 in the morning, and I think it goes till 1 a.m. the next morning. They are showing all 8 of the Nightmare on Elm Street films in the theater, and I am going. I'm so glad. I've never seen even the first one on the big screen. So to be able to see all 8 of them, it's going to be a lot of Freddy, a lot of Robert Englund, And I'm fine with that. It's been years since I've seen like part 4 and probably part 6, but certainly not all of them. I watched a lot of them pretty often, but that is a wonderful picture that you just sent me. Michael Madsen is crazy looking.
Are you able to bring that up? I just wanted to give everybody a visual of my story. Or are you not able to do that?
I might be able to drag it in my browser. Let me see. No, maybe not. I was trying to download it. I don't want you to download it. Put it on the screen. Let's see if it'll show up. Nope, it just wants to download it. There's no way to share it.
See that I looked like a homeless man because I hadn't showered. Hanging out with Michael Madsen.
Brian says I got to bring my coffee thermos.
Yeah, that's gonna be an absolute blast. And honestly, that's like longer than, because even like you said it starts at 1 in the afternoon and right
10 in the morning.
10 in the morning. Oh, it goes to 1 in the morning the next day, right?
Yeah. So it's literally like 15 hours.
Even like the New Bev horror marathons I've been to on Halloween most of the years. Even those ones aren't that long.
It's like 4 or 5 movies usually, right?
Yeah, they're showing about. Well, it used to be 5. It used to be 6, and now they brought it down to 4. They went down, unfortunately. But yeah, those would usually start like in the mid-afternoon and go till about like 3 or 4 in the morning. But yeah, yours is even longer than that.
Well, they are baking in a short intermission between each film, and then every other so every 2 films they're going to have a little longer, so you can go walk around for a little bit, get some food at the stand if you need to, and not miss anything, because this is going to be a big one.
That's going to be an absolute blast.
Yep,
for sure. I'm jealous. What's Video Manon say?
Jeremy's all about the ladies tonight. I see you've worked with Colby Stewart. I loved her in that short How to Kill a Boy, and you are editing, I see.
I have not seen that short, but that's interesting that you know her. Yeah, she was in Clickbait, which is my first feature film that came out. She was the main star, and she did amazing in it, actually. I had nothing to do with casting or anything like that, because I just wrote the script and sold it to the producers who ended up making it. But I'm really happy with that casting, because I think she did an amazing job. And I'm assuming he says all about the ladies tonight because I mentioned Poots earlier, who I love.
Poots and Colby Stewart, and then Francesca.
Oh yeah, well he knows Francesca, who I just did a show with recently. The show was Francesca Forlini, or whatever her last name is. I apologize. And friends. I was one of the friends, even though I had just met her that night.
Video Manon wants to know, where can we get Clickbait? I would like to see your work. Clickbait got a DVD release through Wild Eye, and it does have a Blu release that came out as a limited edition release through Horror Pack. And you can still kind of find that in a lot of places, because a lot of those Horror Pack releases, they just get a lot of extras, so they end up on there's a website called Pop-Up Pack that I think is associated with Horror Pack. Yeah, so they sell them.
They have they have some of the extras on there for sale, and I think I've seen them on eBay and Amazon too.
Quite often.
The DVD as well is on Amazon and eBay, and it was at Walmart for a while, I guess, when it first came out. And if you don't want a physical version of it, which of course that's what this channel is all about, but it's also streaming on Prime and Tubi, I believe, as well as all your favorite illegal downloading sites. I also have a couple short films that if you were to look at my IMDb page, Video Manon, which it sounds like you are, if you just search those on YouTube, I think they're all on. I think most of the shorts I wrote and directed are on YouTube.
Flickering wants to know, the Elm Street Marathon sounds awesome. Any word on the Freddy's Dead finale being presented in 3D? I am betting it will not be, sadly. Yeah, I wish it was, but I'm hoping they could still surprise. Video Manon says, my first films was also through Wild Eye. They really effed me, but that is long gone and done. Yes, I want physical. I will check Amazon.
Thanks, buddy. I appreciate your support. I did not deal with any kind of distribution. Once again, I was not involved after I sold the script, except for being on set to shoot my cameo. And then I didn't see it until the premiere at Genre Blast Film Festival like a year later. But that one, I heard from the producers, who I'm still friendly with, that they also got effed with the distribution from Wild Eyes. So I'm not surprised to hear that from you.
I love Quiet Rob says, imagine if the marathon added the documentary Never Sleep Again. I think that thing is almost 6 hours long.
That's hilarious.
From 10 a.m., it would end up being almost 7 or 8 a.m. the next day. I mean,
plus just the very ironic title for that long.
Yeah. Well, and we could even make it worse and go for a full 24 hours. And I wouldn't want to end it with this, but you could also add the remake.
Yeah. That would be sad.
You know what? Let's take that out and put on a couple episodes of Freddy's Nightmares.
I like it. I like it a lot. Oh, speaking of, well, because we were talking about ladies and that came out wrong. But he mentioned, and then because I mentioned Poots earlier and stuff, who I wish I would have gone to that PGA event and met. But your earlier question was specifically some people who I met at screenings that I got to talk to and maybe get a photo with, who really inspired me. And two that popped into my head while we were, since that question, while we were talking, was I went to an advanced screening. Was this just last? Yeah, I guess would have just been last year but before Mitchell's versus the Machines came out, which I love that movie. And I got to meet Phil Lord and Chris Miller, who I have personally loved, absolutely adored, and followed their work since Clone High, which to this day, I don't know if you've seen Clone High.
Oh yeah.
But it's one of my favorite shows ever, certainly my favorite animated show. And I just watched their career blossom after that, with starting with Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs and the Lego Movie and 21 Jump Street, and then Mitchell vs. the Machines, which is just and of course Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse. So many great works, and and I don't know. I mean, obviously, I love all their films, and Clone High, and their stuff is so funny, first of all, but just so creative. Like, if you look at their resume, there's not a bad one in the bunch, and they take a long time in between projects.
Yeah.
And aside from 21 and 22 Jump Street, which are live action, most of them are animated with just the most creativity. Oh, that's nice. Thank you, man. Well, have to let me know what you think of it when you watch it. Next time I'm on the show with you.
Quiet Rob, Freddy versus Jason is playing. It is the 8th film playing. So I get to end this whole thing with Freddy versus Jason at 1 a.m.
So fun. On the big screen. And then the other person I thought of, besides Lord and Miller, these are just recent ones, so they're coming to mind within the last year or so. This one was just earlier this year, I believe. Yes, earlier this year. I went to an advanced screening through the PGA of After Yang, the new Kogonada film. And his first film, this is only his second film, released through A24. Right. But his first film, which was not A24, Columbus, which has an oscilloscope release, is amazing. One of my all-time favorites. It's up in, I think it might even be in my top 10 films of all time. Not quite top 5, but top 10. But it changed my life. It's an amazing, beautiful, beautiful film that he wrote and directed. And to be able to tell him that after it meant so much to me, and I've watched it on so many occasions and has gotten me through some tough times, and get him to sign my Blu-ray and talk to him was a real treat. So those are two recent ones that come to mind based on your question of folks I met specifically at these screenings. Just to circle back to that.
I love it. The amount of times that you've shared things that I've just been beyond jealous of, that you've either been able to see ahead of time or attend. And the biggest thing is when you are in the industry like that, I imagine it would feel, I'm projecting onto you, I guess, but I can't imagine it would feel pretty much anything but inspiring a lot of the time, because you are seeing the people behind these amazing pieces that you are either already inspired by, and now you get to watch a new piece from them and see them like literally beaming with joy at their creation, and you get to share that experience with them. Astonishing.
I've gone to I love the Q&A aspect of it, whether it's exclusive to me because I'm in the PGA, or it's a screening that's open to everybody with a Q&A. Even if it's a movie I've seen a bajillion times, or even a movie that I might not be interested in, I don't think I would even.
Right.
I almost always go because I thrive on that environment so much. To be, like you said, to see them beaming on their creation after watching it with an audience on the big screen and everything, and to also hear about the process and hear so many. I've heard, I've learned things. I've gotten tidbit, all kinds of great stuff from Q&As. And more than one occasion, my respect for a film has gone up because of the Q&A.
Right.
Like, I'll watch the movie afterwards, I think, it was all right, and then I stick around for the Q&A, and suddenly, maybe it went from like a 5 to a 7 or something like
Right.
that. I mean,
and thankfully, I mean, that's one of the reasons why I love physical media so much is
Yeah.
we get a similar, obviously it's not exactly the same. You get the energy from the room and stuff, but you get a similar experience from audio commentaries, from these featurettes, some of these wonderful like visual essays that people create. And this is not just somebody like spouting off of the top of their head. They are putting hours of research into something that is essentially film school sometimes. Yeah. On a specific subject, and you never knowing going into that what is coming, and you can just learning context behind the film or the cultural way that this film affected things, and immediately have something click in you and go, oh damn, like even though I overlooked this one part, perhaps the film as a general, it makes more sense to me, and now it sticks with you for the next week and a half, and you just can't shake it because it's that good.
Yeah.
And before you saw that, you could have like rated it a 2.5 on Letterboxd, and now you get done with the features and it's like, oh no, that's like a 4 or 4.5 for me now.
Yeah, it bumps it up. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, on multiple occasions that's happened. So yeah, for people like us who really like, respect the art of filmmaking,
right.
There's plenty of people who just watch a film for the surface level enjoyment, and that's totally fine. But if you're really digging into the craft, learning about that kind of stuff, whether it's a live Q&A with the person or bonus features on a Blu-ray, certainly give you a whole new appreciation for sure.
Right.
Another story that just came to mind, since you asked about people that I idolize in a sense, meeting at screenings. This is from a long time ago that I don't think I ever shared with you. It was pre-pandemic. What year did You Were Never Really Here come out? Was that 2019? I think.
Let me see. I feel like that was later.
Well, it was pre-pandemic. So
oh God, it's way earlier. 2017.
Wow. Yes. So, of course, ArcLight Hollywood was still open because in the Dome and everything that didn't close down until during the pandemic, sadly. So I went and saw You Were Never Really Here opening night because I'm obsessed with Joaquin, who isn't, and I also very, very much love any film by the person who I clearly love so much I can't remember their name. Lynn. Is it Lynn?
Lynn Ramsey.
Yeah, Lynn Ramsey. I love her work, and so I was there opening night. I was super stoked to see that, and I was not disappointed. I absolutely adore that movie. Turns out, so opening night, of course, these days is Thursday. So it turns out Joaquin was doing Q&As over the weekend for certain screenings at ArcLight Hollywood. But I didn't hear about that in time. I would have seen it again gladly. I think it might have been sold out. Anyways, it doesn't matter. But I was there seeing another movie over the weekend, some other release that weekend that I also wanted to see. This technically isn't a screening like your question was, people I met at screenings, but I wanted to tell you the story anyways because it's endearing to me and it makes me happy to think about that. But anyways, so I come out of whatever other movie. You know what? Now that I think about it, because it wasn't a long time ago. You said 2017. The more I think about it, the more I think that I didn't even know that Joaquin was doing Q&As. I think maybe they were either surprise Q&As or I just hadn't known about it.
Right.
Either way, it wasn't when I saw it on open night. So I'm just coming out of another movie at ArcLight Hollywood, and as I come out, boom, there's Joaquin Phoenix right in front of my face. And it was a late night showing, number one, and I don't think it was not a popular movie because I was like one of like 3 people in there. But then there he is. He's just waiting to go into the theater right next to the one I came out of to do a Q&A, and they're waiting for the end of the credits or what have you. And I'm like, oh my God. And so I go up to him and I was like, hey, I'm not seeing it tonight, but I saw it opening night on Thursday and I absolutely loved it. And I just want to let you know that even though I'm not here seeing it now, I already saw it and I loved it and it's amazing and you're amazing and blah, blah, blah. And he's like, oh, thanks, blah, 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 whatever. And then I got a photo with him. And then after we took the photo, this is the part that I love. I felt like, okay, I don't want to waste any more of this man's time. He gets this all the time.
Right.
People coming up to him, asking for photos. He's clearly waiting to go into a Q&A. So after the photo, I'm like, okay, thanks. And I go to walk away. And then as I'm walking away, he goes, so you go to the movies all the time or what? Like, he's pulling me back in as I go. And I'm like, because I was there seeing another movie. So he's just like, so what? That's what you do in your free time. I think that's what he said. That's what you do in your free time? You just go to movies all the time? And I was like, okay, he wants to talk more. So I come back over. I'm like, well, yeah, I'm a pretty huge movie buff, so I'm usually here like multiple times a weekend to see the new stuff that comes out. And he's like, oh yeah, me, I love going to the movies, but he's like, I usually wait for them to be out for a couple weeks so that there's less people in the theaters and so on and so forth. And me and my girlfriend, he says, who of course is what's her face, Rooney. Me and my girlfriend she always wants to see stuff sooner, and I'm like, let's wait. And then we wait too long and they're out of theaters. And I'm like, well, that's why you should go to one of those second run theaters. And he's like, what? To my great surprise, he had not heard of the second
Never
run.
heard of it.
Yeah, there's like plenty of movie theaters around where they'll, after they leave the main theaters, and these kind of second run theaters will get those new but not so new movies. Yep. He's like, oh, that's perfect. I was like, yeah. I was like, I think there's one in Burbank. Yeah, like look into it, because then you can go see him and there'll be like nobody in the theater. He's like,
especially if you go like a noon showing in a second run theater, there's nobody there.
Yeah, exactly. And so he's like, oh, I really appreciate that. And anyways, I don't know. And then of course, eventually after a few minutes, his publicist or somebody was like, okay, we got to go in, Mr. Phoenix. And he's like, okay, well, hey, nice chatting with you, Jeremy. And I was like, oh, great.
That's awesome.
But it was just so cool because, I mean, certainly I've had very few experiences where a celebrity that I met was actually like rude or mean or in some way. But even if they're nice, they're usually just like, okay, cool, I did my duty, which was
they're publicly nice,
and signing something. But for him to actually like, I was in the process of walking away, and he's like, this guy seems cool. Let me just chat with him for a little bit.
That's awesome.
Really nice.
And he gives off that aura, like he would genuinely do that all the time.
Yeah.
That's great.
That was really cool. Did I ever tell you the Zach Galifianakis story?
I don't think so.
This is some of my friends. This is like one of their favorite stories of mine. I went to the premiere of
The Hangover 3.
No.
There was probably no premiere of The Hangover 3.
What was it the premiere of? It was that. Have you ever heard? I know you don't live out here, but have you ever heard? Hopefully, this is interesting to people. You did. You used to. You're right. Hopefully, this is interesting to some of your viewers. And I'm not just. It's not just you and I talking, but oh no.
Flickering says second run theaters have left our area. It was a great way to watch movies on the cheap.
Yeah. If you weren't super anxious to see it like first thing, wait a little bit.
I'm looking at Zach's. Was it Birdman or Due Date or Missing Link?
No, you know what?
Masterminds.
No.
Keeping Up with the Joneses. No. Baskets, maybe.
Might have been something Baskets related. Gosh, I wish I remembered. It would have been probably around the 2016 time frame.
Lego Batman movie, Masterminds, Keeping Up with the Joneses, Bajillion Dollar Properties, and that's about it.
I'm not sure what it would have been then. Do you remember from when you lived here, or even if it wasn't when you lived here, maybe you still heard of it, the Cinefamily?
Oh, of course, yeah.
So of course that's closed down now too, very sadly. but the silent movie theater there on Fairfax. So I would go there all the time when that was open too. A very frequent stop, just like New Bev and Aero Theater and so on. And so whatever this event was with Zach Galifianakis that I can't remember, it was a thing, and he was there and did a Q&A and everything. And I was part of, just being part of the industry and everything. I was able to go to the back stage area after, they had like that back, I don't know if you've ever been back there, but they had like a back patio in the back with a bar and stuff like that. And so I was back there, and I started talking to Zach, and this was pretty close to when I first moved out here, because I moved out here January 2015. And whatever this event was, it was either late 2015 or early 2016. And I was, so I was telling him like, hey, I'm a comic, and you're a big inspiration to me. And I just moved out here not too long ago. And I'm trying to break into, this, that, all that those kinds of things. And he was genuinely interested. He was like asking me about my background and how long I've been doing it. We were talking, and it was really, really delightful. And I think we were talking for like 15 minutes. And I asked him for a photo at one point, as one does. And he says, oh, I can't do photos, Jeremy, because I have a stalker. True story.
Oh.
And he's like, and this person it's been an issue for a little while, and the police are investigating it, but they have told me not to take photos with fans because they immediately get posted and geotagged, and then this guy knows where I'm at all times. And I was like, wow, what a ordeal. And he's like, I hate it because obviously I love taking photos with fans.
Right.
I hate to have to say no, and usually it's not when I'm having a conversation like you and I are, Jeremy, so I don't get to explain it. I have to just say no real quick if someone's asking for it, and then I seem like an asshole, and it's this whole thing. And I was like, oh, that's fine, I totally get it, don't worry about it. And then we just kept talking about comedy after that. We moved on. Some other guy comes over, some other fan or whatever, and asks him to sign their Hangover DVD, and he does real quick, and while he's talking to me. And I was like, man, I wish I would have brought something for you to sign, so I would have something to take away from this experience of meeting you, since you can't do photos. And he's
Please
like,
tell me he still did.
He says, Jeremy, would you accept a $5? And he just pulls out his wallet, and I'm like, what? I was like, no, I can't accept a $5. That's ridiculous. And he's like, it's been an absolute delight talking to you. And he just starts signing a $5 bill and then hands me this $5 bill.
Wow.
Like, that is insane, insanely nice, but thank you. And we kept talking for a little bit longer. Then later I was, about a half an hour later, I was talking to somebody else or whatever. And he walks by and he goes, he's talking to somebody else too, but happens to walk by me at the bar and goes, do you have a $5 I can borrow?
Oh, that's perfect.
And it was a delight. And then cut to about a year later, I've told you stories about the Largo Theater there on whatever street, La Cienega, I think. Years later, because I had performed there a couple times or been there with Andy or whoever, whatever. And so the people who worked there knew me. And there's an event I wanted to go to. I forget what it was. So, almost every show there is so-and-so and friends.
Right. And
so it was so-and-so and friends. But Zach Galifianakis was there. I don't think I was going just for him. I think there was somebody else there I really wanted to see. But it was a great lineup. But it was sold out. But I was like, well, I know the people work. Maybe they'll let me in or whatever. So I go there. And I talked to whoever, and they're just like, yeah, well, let's just, give me like a couple minutes into the showtime, and we'll see if we can find a seat for you, and we'll bring you in, that kind of thing. I was like, cool. So I'm kind of just like walking around the area of the Largo Theater, waiting for them to let me know if I can come in or not. And, there's this kind of alleyway in the back of the Largo Theater. First of all, the stage door is in this alleyway, but there's also another side door that is like right at the front of basically where the front row of the audience is. There's like a side door that exits into the alley. And I'm just minding my own business. I was just kind of walking around just because I didn't want to stand still while I'm waiting for this answer. And all of a sudden, boom, this side door just slams open, and it's Zach Galifianakis with the microphone. And he goes, oh, there's someone out here. and I hear the audience inside laughing. And he's like, how are you doing, sir? And I'm like, oh, I'm good. And then he's like, do I know you? And I was like, yeah, we met once before. And he's like, at the Cine Family. And I was like,
wow.
Yeah. He's like, oh my God, how have you been? Blah, blah, blah. And he's like, great. He's like, what are you doing here in the alley? And I was like, oh, I'm waiting to see if they can get me in because it was sold out. And he's like, there's a seat right here in the front row. Come on in. I just come in the side door and everybody's cheering and clapping and laughing. And it was a total blast. And then after the show, I go up to him again, backstage, since I had done shows there and stuff. And I say, oh, I'm so sorry if I messed up your bit. Clearly he was doing some kind of bit if he busted the door and everything. He didn't expect me to be there. He's like, oh no, Jeremy, please. That was a blast. It's like, I didn't take you on tour with me. Let's go on the road. We can keep it
Don't
up.
threaten you with a good time.
I know. And then he's like, hey, let's finally get that picture. And then I took a picture with him. He remembered that too. And I guess he didn't have his stalker anymore. So
the
really
whole
great.
picture thing, if I'm remembering right, I think he used to do a long bit in his stand-up about taking pictures with fans. And it must have been before the whole stalker thing. I feel like I remember him making fun of the way that awkward people posed with him or something like that.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So I'm assuming that he probably really enjoyed it. That's gotta suck.
The whole stalker issue had to definitely suck. Yeah. The main reason being because it makes people perceive you a different way, which he pointed out. He's like, I don't have time to explain it usually, so I'm just like, no. And then they're like, oh, well, this guy sucks, or they're a jerk or whatever. It's like, no, not necessarily the case. Anyway, so another rambling.
Flickering Wave says, eagerly awaiting for the Enzian to announce their 13 films of Halloween. They do 35mm films each Tuesday and midnights every Saturday, and a few others scattered during October. There's a lot of those coming up. And in fact, the theater that I'm going for, the Nightmare on Elm Street, they did just share, let me see if I can find a poster. They've got this big, I can't even remember what they call it right now. I'll pull it up in just a second. But what they do for Halloween every year, and they go all out sending merch for it, and tons of screenings. This year they're doing Suspiria with an orchestra. That's one of the biggest ones. And then this Nightmare on Elm Street thing is huge. Oh, they call it Shocktober. So let me see if I can pull this up on the share screen.
My not so secret plan is to surpass. What's the guy's name that you?
Brad from Vinegar Syndrome.
Brad. We're getting there. That's why I was telling so many rambly stories.
I kind of figured that was the case. Oh, and Video Man, and I didn't see this one. We always rent the local cinema every December and watch 10 movies during a day that we bring on physical. I love places that do that. And great, some of these screenings, like I shared on here that just recently I watched the Grindhouse double feature, and the digital file that they sent for the whole, with the fake trailers and everything in between and everything, the sound was screwed up. The day of, they received this file and it was borked. They couldn't do anything with it. They couldn't get any of the noise out. So they had the owner of the theater go home and get his Blu-ray. It was just screened on Blu-ray, and it was perfect. I mean,
you had to wait for them to go home and bring it back?
No, he checked earlier in the day when they got the file, so it was all ready to go. But yeah, it's wild. Let me share this because this is a pretty incredible lineup for a Kansas City theater like this. Why did this not? There it is. Shocktober 2022 lineup and shirt announcement. Our 11th annual celebration of all things Halloween and horrifying with 40 plus feature films and events. So they're doing the Nightmare on Elm Street Marathon, like I said, Night of the Living Dead, Reanimator, Hacks in Tucker and Dale vs. Evil, the Terrifier 2, the trailer for that just dropped. The Thing 40th anniversary. I love that they're doing this. Scooby-Doo, including an adults-only screening. So if you just want to watch the movie and not be ruined by kids, this is fantastic. Then we are getting the Blood on Satan's Claw. How many opportunities do you get to see the Blood on Satan's Claw on the big screen?
Yeah.
The Exorcist, the Halloween Ends premiere, the new 4K scan of Child's Play, Nerdoween. Usually for something like that, they show some of the old TV Halloween episodes in like a 3-hour block, something like that. Hellraiser, House on Haunted Hill, the remake, which is wonderful. perfect blue on the big screen.
That's gonna be amazing.
Toby Hooper's Funhouse, The Lost Boys, The Craft, a marathon of Are You Afraid of the Dark episodes.
Suspiria with live score.
That is one that I'm waiting for them to release. They haven't released the tickets on any of that. The Love Witch on the big screen, a Shudder Halloween. They have not announced the lineup for that. Of course, you got to show Rocky Horror Picture Show every year. They're doing a double of
that.
Of course, they're doing a double of Dracula and the Mummy, the Trick or Treat, and notice. I don't know if this is spoiling anything. I kind of assumed that this was coming soon. Trick or Treat. It does say new remaster. So are we getting a 4K of Trick or Treat? Could be. The Wolfman and Invisible Man double feature. So if you're into the classics from the day before, you can come back and watch 2 more. And then on Halloween, they are showing Halloween. And they've got a little really cool bar behind them that they own as well. And it's this little like Be Kind Rewind analog bar that they bring people in, and it's super like early 90s video store decorated. Beautiful.
Where is this happening at?
This place called Screenland Armor, and this is the shirt that they're releasing for this, and they changed it to Screamland Armor.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Oh, that's the theater.
Yep.
Interesting.
Yeah.
That's really cool. Poor Flickering Waves missed out on a Possession screening. I love that movie.
Ooh, I would love to see Possession in 35.
Yeah.
I've seen Possession literally only 2 or 3 times, and I'm like itching to watch it again. I almost watched it just a couple weeks ago. I really need to just put it in. I think I talked about this either in Discord or over message today with somebody. It might have been. Oh, you know what? It was John Peters. We talked about John earlier. Then I get to this point where I get a shipment in, and I get super excited over a movie that just came in. I'm like, I gotta watch this now.
Yeah.
But there's like 9 movies I've been dying to watch for the last month.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
And stuff got busy, and then those sit there forever. So
I find it very hard to balance watching, some of these older titles that I'm ordering from Vinegar Syndrome or Arrow or whatever that I'm very excited to get in, especially bonus features, not even just the movie, and balance that with trying to keep up with all the new releases, because as you know, I like to do that. I like to make
so many screenings
accurate and comprehensive of it. Well, I like to, even whether it's a screening or not, I like to try and see everything that's come out in the year, so I can make as comprehensive of a best of list, in my opinion, as possible at the end of the year. And so it's very hard to balance the new releases and the old ones I want to watch when they come in from one of these boutique labels.
Well, I mean, to beat the record, you only need like 11 more minutes.
Perfect.
So I think a perfect way to kind of cap off this long video, I have been hearing some people lately talking about how 2022 is sort of disappointing in the new film arena for them. So first, what is your take on that by itself, just that statement?
Disappointing in the new film arena, you mean the fact that things are going like straight to digital or digital same day as theaters?
That 2022 is a bad year for movies.
That's what they mean. Okay.
So what is your response to that? And then follow that up with maybe your top 5 to 10 at the moment, knowing that we are just over halfway through the year.
Yes, happily. I would love to do that.
And I know that's the thing that you love to talk about, so it's perfect.
Oh, once you know it, here's my list.
So, I mean, 2022, first of all, is this a bad year for movies in your opinion?
See, the term bad is so negative. And by what connotation do they mean? Bad in comparison to previous years? And if so, which years? Because, I mean, if you were to circle back, there's been a couple years that weren't so good as other years.
Right.
Last year was actually kind of mind-boggling. Despite being amidst the pandemic, I think it was a buildup of films, because my 2021 list was real tough to make. There was a lot of amazing films. 2022, I don't know if I'd say a bad year. There's a lot of, we talked about it a bajillion times already, but Everything Everywhere. Now, you can't judge a year on one film in particular, but
Right.
the fact that 2022 gave us that movie, which not only is my favorite film of the year, but shot up into my top 5 films of all time, is how much I loved it and how much I think it's an amazing film.
I love that Brian says 2022 is way better than any year I had to trade VHS tapes in the mail.
Yeah. I remember recording things onto blank VHS tapes when I was a kid.
Of course.
Off of television and stuff, or I'd rent, or I get a VHS from the video store when that was still a thing. Believe it or not, if I'm not as old as I'd like to think, but
As me.
as Ryan, but yeah, I'd have the 2 VHSs connected, so you could put in the VHS, one VHS, a blank VHS, and the VHS from the video store.
Okay.
Hit play and hit record, and now you have that VHS. And I did that a lot as a kid.
Brian is accurate with that statement, and that's I've tried to remind people that even though there's this dividing line of whether we're in the golden age of physical media or not, it's kind of hard to argue with the fact that I could right now in less than 25 seconds order something from Japan or the UK or France or Germany, and then at the same time compare that to in 1992 when people had to like rip off the back corner of a magazine for an ad that you liked, write in the titles that you want, put it in a self-addressed stamped envelope, send that to some guy in the outskirts of Georgia, just outside of Atlanta, wait 6 months and hope that they got your original message, and then we'll also send you something in response.
Yeah, that's true. That's very true. So that's kind of going back to my initial question in response to what you say people are saying is
Right.
bad compared to what? If you're comparing it to that, not bad. If you're comparing it to, I don't know. I don't think any year is a bad year. As long as we're getting original content, not that I don't love the Marvel films and stuff. We had a whole show about that. But as long as we're getting original content coming out throughout the year, which we certainly have this year as we have any other year, you look at movies like X and Nope and Everything Everywhere. As long as we're getting stuff like that, how could you call it a bad year? Because you're getting original, unique content by some of the most creative minds working in Hollywood. The Daniels, Jordan Peele, Ty West. So where's this, why? Because maybe there's not quite as many hits as last year on your list. I don't know. I don't like the term.
Quiet Rob says, Jeremy, you are definitely on some sort of a list from Blockbuster, probably. And I'm curious.
Blockbuster called Shout, and they're like, blacklist them.
Jeremy still hasn't returned his copy of Beavis and Butthead to America. Can you please not sell him anything? Flickering Wave says, as someone who used to work in theaters, 2022 is disheartening as it seems that the studios are trying to weaken the theaters that help them make the money that they have enjoyed for decades.
Well, that's my question, right? When you first brought this up, I said, are they talking about how stuff's being released on straight to video, straight to VOD, or VOD same day as theaters, which is such a huge mistake. It's such a terrible platform. It's like, if you want it to be, I mean, I get the pandemic was kind of the model for that because people weren't able to go to the theaters. But now that theaters are back open, it's like if you want them to be on VOD for people who are maybe still worried about going to the theater or whatever, give it at least 2 weeks in the theaters first. You know what I mean? Not same day release, same day VOD release.
John DeMarsco's here. He says, wait, this is still live. Just got home from work. He is the Mets broadcast director. And so the Mets must have just finished their game a little while ago. This is the guy that hung out with in LA.
Yeah, I remember that.
From work and just assumed I was starting from the beginning. Jeremy said at the beginning of this he wanted to beat, as you can tell by his name, trying to beat Brad Henderson for the record for the longest live stream.
Yeah,
we'll beat that in 5 minutes. And for the record, Jeremy has taken a bathroom break, and I have yet to.
If you want to take a bathroom break, I can entertain them.
Also, I finished the first bottle of water, and I'm halfway through the second.
Yeah. If you want to go, Well, first of all, you could just go in that first bottle that you finished.
Oh no, I've done that twice already tonight. That's how I finished it.
And then re-drank it because you were parched.
Oh, Kevin Costner in Waterworld. So 2022, what they are alleging is that just overall the quality of the movies for the entirety of the year seems to be lesser than it was recently. Now, I know it's a weird time to talk about that because 2021 was a recovery year.
Yeah.
And 2022 or 2020 was a failure year because of the pandemic. So it is not easy to just go the last few years because it's been so different. It's not really fair.
It's been drastically different. And I think the word that's really stopping me up is bad.
Right.
Different or lesser than, or like less, I don't know. Maybe there's not a one word to describe it, but just to say, oh, this is a bad year. Compared to what and why?
That's the hard part. These armchair people that are here, these armchair critics, I guess I should say, that are critical about things and they can't do them themselves, will be quick to say words like good or bad, and then flounder when you try to say, well, why? What makes it bad? Why are we at this point? So for me, I think in a year where we have some of the most unique films ever made, Everything Everywhere, a new entry for a director's oeuvre that has really stymied people because they've tossed around that god-awful word woke, and now Jordan Peele is what everybody's wanting to refer to as elevated cinema or elevated horror or whatever. Nope is kind of different than everything he's done so far. It's his most accessible film.
Every one of his films has been different, drastic.
Absolutely. But then the hardest argument against all this, even the franchise films that opened up the year primarily with the Batman is better than they have been recently. Marvel, they're not necessarily doing as good as they have been recently, but the Batman is
fantastic,
incredible. So it's hard to reduce it to a single word, but I got to be honest, there is a lot that I'm excited about. And I think one of the things that appears to be emerging as a sort of trend that I kind of like is these movies that feel not necessarily just well polished, but think of something like Fresh. The movie, when you watched Fresh, it felt like pristine. It felt like everything was well thought out. Everything had a plan. Everything was on screen for a reason, which I get reasons for like natural films and things filmed just walking down the street. That all makes sense. But there's also that movie coming out.
I got to be honest, I didn't love Fresh, but as a whole, but I appreciated exactly what you're talking about.
Right.
And how it was presented. Even just from the opening with the opening credits and the music and the dancing. In fact, at that moment, I was like, "Oh, I'm gonna love this movie," and then it turns out I didn't love it, but I still enjoyed it and appreciated a lot about it.
And it was unique.
Yeah,
it was great for that front. I can't remember the name of it. Maybe you can, because I'm sure you've seen the Nicole Kidman face way more times than I have this year. The preview that we saw before Crimes of the Future, talking about the fancy dinner where people get locked in. At the menu, okay.
Yeah, it looks phenomenal.
It looks incredible, and it's got that same feeling to me. It's got that same, everything looks planned out, everything looks carefully curated to put this artistic view on the screen. So the menu and one other film coming this year are the two that I'm really excited about that give me that feeling. The other one is Don't Worry, Darling.
Yeah, that's going to be great.
I can't wait. They have this odd vibe that is just amazing.
It has a very like Stepford Wives vibe, mixed with. Did you see? It's a bit. Yeah, I'm very stoked for that one as well. I think people might be underestimating Olivia Wilde because her first movie was a little high school comedy that I also really much enjoyed.
I still loved it.
I love Booksmart. And now she's taking this dramatic turn, but I'm very excited for Don't Worry, Darling.
Well, and if anybody has paid attention to her, the articles recently about her situation with Jason Sudeikis, I think that there was a lot of anger that was placed behind this film, and clearly falling in love with someone else while making a film that you are making, not necessarily in response to, but shortly after a trauma experience, it's going to be pretty like electric.
Yeah, electric and emotional.
So this year, top 5 or 8, what are you thinking?
First of all, I just like to point out that I win based on the time. And we'll conclude this segment now that I have officially won, so that Ryan can go to the bathroom and I can go see what will probably be another great entry to this year, The Invitation. But to conclude this segment on why this is not a bad year in film, I'd like to give you examples as to why this is not a bad year for film. Top 10. Everything Everywhere All at Once. After Yang, we already discussed. Cha Cha Real Smooth, we already discussed. Dinner in America. Duel, Riley Stearns. Barbarian. Marcel the Shell with Shoes On, which I bawled my fucking eyes out.
I cannot wait to see that.
Bodies, Bodies, Bodies. Loved it.
But by the way, I left it out. I finally get to go see that tomorrow. That was the movie I get to go see tomorrow.
Oh my God, I can't wait to hear what you think.
Yeah.
Text me when you...
Yeah.
Bullet Train.
Nice.
And Funny Pages, which I actually just saw an advanced screening of at the end. It's another A24 release.
Okay. I think I read about that one.
Yeah. 5 honorable mentions, just to throw them out there since we're trying to prove that this is a good year for original, unique cinema. The Northman, Nope, X, Don't Make Me Go, and Unbearable Weight of Massive Talent.
Don't Make Me Go. I don't know that one either.
Don't Make Me Go was it's a international film. I forget.
John Cho. Okay.
Yeah.
When a single father to a teenage daughter learns that he has a fatal brain tumor,
it's not international. Sorry, I was thinking of something else. But yeah.
He takes her on a road trip to find the mother who abandoned her years before and try to teach her everything she might need over the rest of her life.
I was bawling my eyes out at that one too. So yeah.
John Cho just going through all of the traumatic experience with daughters movies after searching, I guess.
No, yeah, they're like, you know what? He did a good job with this one. Let's keep that.
And then on top of that, he was contained to screens, so let's send him across the world on a road trip.
It's like, we're going to do searching, but the exact opposite. Instead of contained to screens, it's across the world. And instead of his daughter being missing, his daughter has a missing mother. How about that?
Perfect.
Okay, well, I hope everybody has enjoyed
this for 3 hours and 41 minutes. I don't know. There was a lot of announcements tonight.
There was a lot of announcements, but then there was also a lot of stories where halfway through, I'm like, should I just be telling Ryan this story on the phone instead of taking up everybody's time?
No, it was beautiful, and everybody loved you tonight. It's clear from the comments that you are wonderful. For those looking for announcements over the next coming week, I can safely say next Thursday is going to be another long show, because by next Thursday, we're going to have Arrow announcements, Imprint announcements. All of the OCN announcements are next Thursday, which means they will be on our Thursday show. I do believe Screen Factory announcements will likely be next week. They may be the week after, but people get excited. You never know. There is also a few more that should be coming. And then, of course, we got Cauldron tomorrow with that pre-order. So there's a lot that will be coming out in the next 7 days.
I'm going to have to get in there on those rare slipcover re-releases.
Yeah, and a lot of people are going to be in there. So hit it if you can.
Yeah.
Jeremy, my friend, everything is beautiful. You are wonderful.
You are wonderful. Thank you for having me. Thanks, everybody. I appreciate everybody who commented.
Flickering says, now invite Brad back and this can be an ongoing duel. Seriously, this has been fun. Thank you guys for hanging out. I know this is a long stream to listen to, but I mean, we've been over 20 people the entire time, which for an almost 4-hour stream is amazing.
Yeah, and Brad wants the duel. Bring it on.
Now it would be fun to bring on both of you at the same time and to see who can just monologue the most from both of you.
Bring us both on at the same time. You're dealing with like a 15-hour stream.
It's like a 9-hour Nightmare on Elm Street marathon. the reason that we are able to do so much on a show like this is because of these people. And thankfully, Jeremy Long is on this list. Thank you, my friend, for being such a wonderful patron. If you have not signed up for it, the description below has the link. You get access to our Discord. I do a giveaway for all of the VIPs every month, which I'm sending out to 3-time winner tomorrow. I don't even want to say it because he hasn't even messaged me to say that he's watched the random pull. So I kind of just want to make it a surprise that shows up at his house. Congrats to him. But yeah, we have a great time in there. I appreciate all of you. And from Two Collectors, go ahead.
Thanks particularly to Video Man, who bought a copy of Clickbait while we were streaming. I very much appreciate that.
Yep. You guys are just perfect.
Thanks, Quiet Rob. Thanks, Lisa. Thanks, Flickering Waves. Thanks, Brian. Everybody's great. I love all of you, especially you, Ryan.
Aw. Well, I was about to say, from Two Collectors to all of you, well, shoot, you know what? I'm going to hold on to this for about 9 more seconds so we can say 3 hours, 45 minutes, Brad. That is the exact time. And we'll see you next week. And